It's Game 4 of this American League Championship Series. As the A's are trying to survive, the Tigers are trying to advance. Hi again, everybody. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome once again to postseason baseball here on Fox. If you're an Oakland A's fan, I think we know, I'm sure we know exactly what you're hoping and praying for. A repeat of 2004 when the Boston Red Sox came back from 3-0 down to defeat the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series. Lou Piniella, that is the first time and the only time it has happened when a club has fallen behind 3-0. What's the mood like going into this one for the Oakland A's?
Well, the Oakland players will take their cue from their skipper today. They'll look at his body language. They'll see if he's uptight, if he's positive. Well, I talked to Kenny before the ball game, and he certainly exhibited those qualities. That's the good news. The bad news, he doesn't pitch or hit. And that's exactly what this Oakland team is going to have to do today, or they'll go home.
Getting the ball for Oakland will be Danny Herron, a 14-game winner during the regular season. He pitched the clincher over Minnesota in the division series. And Jose Mota, pleasure to have you with us here today. Jeremy Bonderman, the starter for the Tigers, he pitched the series clincher over the Yankees.
That says a lot. And why not have a tough-minded, aggressive young pitcher who understands the bigness of this whole thing, and also understanding that he's following some other pitchers who have done a tremendous job on the mound for the Tigers. The other thing is, offensively, they will give him some runs. It's not all on him, and right now, there's bigger implications, Tommy. This is one victory away from the World Series, so he knows this city is also very hungry.
And how ironic it is this date. It was 22 years ago today. The Detroit Tigers sat atop the baseball world for the 4th time, winning the World Series. Is this their year again?
And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. Don't let go of my hand now. The darkness is gone. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come.
Michigan, the streets are empty, the stadium jam-packed. In the starting lineup for Ken Macha's Oakland Athletics, Jason Kendall catching, Mark Kotsay in center, Milton Bradley in right, Frank Thomas, the DH, still hitless in the series, Eric Chavez at third, Jay Payton in left, Swisher, Scudero, and Jimenez, the latter third. First pitch swinging is Jason Kendall, a foul ball, strike one, and we are underway. Jeremy Bonderman, a 14-game winner against 8 losses during the regular year. He pitched 214 innings during the season. Much tougher against right-handed hitters than left-handed hitters. And our pitcher profile for Bonderman is brought to you by your Exxon and Mobile retailer.
Well, mainly for Jeremy Bonderman, no need to overthrow because he has to trust his stuff. Bear down on lefties. You already mentioned, Tom, how lefties hit better than righties against him, and really trust him to feed off this whole environment.
And the environment alive already. Strike 3 called to Kendall. And Jason disagrees with Chuck Merriweather.
You have an opportunity to send a message immediately right away. Look at that glove not moving. Great job on Pudge on framing that pitch, and he really made it easy for home plate umpire Merriweather.
Boy, and this place is electric.
Well, the early start on a Friday afternoon yesterday. A very good crowd, a lively crowd. But there certainly is an even greater sense of desire here in Detroit today. A win away from the World Series. Mark Kotsay swings and fouls it out of play. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. League Championship Series brought to you by Budweiser Select, brewed longer for a bold taste that finishes clean. Expect everything. 1-1 account on Kotsay. And it's down and in, 2 balls and a strike.
And that's a pitch that Jim Leland, the changeup, says that he needs to really be on it to get left-hand hitters out.
Up and away, 3-1 to Kotsay. Right-handed batters hit only .245 against Bonderman during the regular season, and the same number in his career. But left-handers throughout Bonderman's career at .283. And there's ball 4 to Kotsay. Let's take a look at the Tigers on defense. They'll go with Monroe in left, Granderson in center, Maglio Ordonez in right field. Inge at third, a second straight started short for Ramon Santiago. Polanco has had a monster postseason at the plate and in the field. Carlos Guillen due to the injury to Sean Casey again at first. Bonderman and Pudge Rodriguez the battery. One on, one out.
There's something they needed right away. One good at bat and be able to feed off of it. Good job by Kotze.
Now Milton Bradley. You always have to be alive with Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate. Ball 1 to Milton. 6 hits and 13 at bats. 2 home runs. Both of them came in game 2 of this series. He had 1 from each side of the plate. That was a 4-hit game for Bradley.
Well, Bradley's been one of the few bright spots offensively for Oakland in this series.
Popped up and back out of play in amongst the fans. 1-1 on Bradley. You look at this season against Detroit, including this postseason, and Bradley has had his way against a very good Detroit pitching team.
That last swing tells me a lot about that. Very confident swing, throwing the barrel right in front of that pitch.
Of course, in game 2 of this series, it was Justin Verlander on the mound for the Tigers. Very hard thrower. And one thing we saw from Milton Bradley, whether it was against Verlander or Zamaya, he can hit the fastball.
Well, most of these major league hitters can. What they've got to do is be selective, like Kotze was there, like Bradley was on that pitch, and get a good pitch to hit. That's really the secret to hit.
That might be the one pitch that Gerald Perry, the hitting coach for the A's, wants him to really recognize early and lay off of it. So far, 2 lefties have done a nice job at it.
2-1 account on Bradley. Kotze over at first, just underway in the opening inning. Fastball up and in, 3 balls and a strike.
Although what will be interesting here is also to see if Bonderman falls into a pattern where the lefties can anticipate when that changeup is coming.
Well, he does get in a little bit of a rut in that regard. But in this situation here, Bradley's going to get a good fastball to hit. I'm curious to see if the runner goes.
He is. Then he stopped. Bradley swings and lifts a fly ball pretty well hit down that left field line. Monroe in the corner, leaps into the stands and couldn't get it.
Well, a pretty spacious ballpark, a lot of ground right now. Monroe calculating that last jump just out of the reach. I think the wind definitely has something to do with it. But here's a guy that knows his territory.
Well, Oakland needs to be aggressive here. On this 3-2 pitch, the runner's got to be gone. It's going to open a hole in the infield. Bradley puts the ball in play.
And at this point, why not?
Exactly.
3-2. Runner does go, and a pitch is swung on and fouled back out of play. So we'll do it again.
I'm a believer, you know, just like Detroit's pitchers, Robertson, Verlander, now Bonderman, Kenny Rogers. Well, hitting, Lou, I think could be the same thing. One good at bat can carry into just having the confidence go all throughout that Oakland dugout.
One good at bat from the 3-4 hitters. Everybody starts swinging the bat a little better. Good hitting is contagious, such as good pitching is contagious.
Jose, you asked Ken Maka, what does your team need on offense right from the start? He said about 5 runs in the opening inning.
He did not hide it, did he?
He likes crooked numbers today.
But this is how you start, putting pressure on the opposing pitcher.
7th pitch of this at bat. Runner goes again, and it's in the air, driven into left center field. Granderson on the run at the warning track, cannot get it up against the wall. Kotze on his way to third. They're going to wave him around. Santiago will not throw to the plate, and Milton Bradley with a run-scoring double to left center field gives Oakland a 1-0 lead in the opening inning.
It's all about the approach. Good job, Milton Bradley. Tremendous at bat. Way to finish it off. Front shoulder close, goes the other way. And again, I just mentioned the wind on that foul ball down the left field line. Well, here at the point of contact, solid right through the strike zone, but also the ball really got away from Granderson there.
Yeah, that wind drifted that ball into deep left center field. Granderson was playing just about a step to pull. It became a tough play for him. And with Ken Maka, the manager, being aggressive, the base runner was able to score from first base.
It's a good read right there by Mark Kotze. He actually took some time to make sure that ball was not going to be caught.
Now Frank Thomas has been so quiet during this postseason. 5 hits and 20 at bats overall. He hit 2 home runs in game 1 in the division series against Minnesota.
They need Big Frank right now.
0 for 10 is Thomas in this series. And it's taken inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Thomas hitless in 5 at-bats with runners in scoring position in this LCS. In the entire postseason, the A's have 6 hits in 44 at-bats with runners in scoring position.
And this is where that stat is a little skewed because Coxley was not in scoring position, but a big hit came through. Good base running, got it done.
Bradley at second, 1 in, 1 out, 2-0 to Thomas. Jumps all over it, but pulls it foul. And Frank Thomas, during the regular season, lost out to Jim Thome for the comeback player of the year, but 39 home runs, 114 batted in during the division series. A .500 batter, including those 2 home runs. 0 for 10, 4 strikeouts, has left 9 men on base in this LCS. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, 2-2. Well, we've already alluded to the wind. A tad windier at game time today than yesterday, but certainly a lot warmer.
For the game, talking to the players, look at these conditions. A little windy, not bad, but the sun is out, man. Big Red is humming.
2-2, and Bonderman delivers just off the outside corner.
Good eye by Frank Thomas. Bonderman threw that hard slider that he uses to get hitters out with. A good take by Frank there. That's a pitch that the 2 strikes, hard to lay off of.
Bonderman shaking off Pudge Rodriguez. And now the 3-2 came with a fastball, and Thomas hammers it down the left field line, fouled.
I think guys in that A's dugout are not paying attention to this at bat. There's a Frank Thomas that he sent the message early in postseason with a big home run against Joan Santana in Minnesota. That's all they needed to see.
There goes Bradley. Swung on and fouled out of play. And Bradley might be hurt. Bradley is holding his right thigh about 3/4 of the way down. That's not good.
We talk about weather conditions being cold even with the sun out, but here's a jump. He had third base stolen, but only his right quad, I can see it right here.
Might have cramped up on him. That might be the good news for Oakland, but you're right, Jose. He had a great jump. He would have stole that base standing up. Oakland trainers coming out just to take a good look at him, make sure he's okay.
I think he's in a lot of pain out there.
Well, the easiest thing to do is the groin muscles in cold weather. They're easy to pull. And that's probably where this area is at. Well, it's the top of the thigh.
Ken Maka.
That's bad news for Oakland because I'll tell you what, he's been swinging the bat as well as anybody.
Had a great jump and right about there, about 4 steps away.
Larry Davis, the head trainer, out with Ken Maka, still talking to Milton Bradley, who's trying to run off the pain. It gives us a chance to welcome in the 4th member of our broadcast team today. Once again, good afternoon, Chris Meyer.
Hey, Tom, and it was a Tiger fan who held up a sign here that said Milton Bradley, game over. And I talked to Milton before this series, and he said, we know what we have to do. But the vibe in the clubhouse with the A's, Ken Maka walked over to Frank Thomas and said, you're not going to get one of those, let's win one for the Gipper speeches. But Frank Thomas said, well, let's win one for Maka. And the A's were loose, and they did not seem as desperate as a team 0-3, at least coming into today's game.
Chris, thank you very much. 8th pitch in this at bat coming from Bonderman to Frank Thomas. Already the 23rd pitch of the inning. And another foul ball on a check swing.
Tell you, as a runner right now, Bradley at second base, you're hoping that Frank Thomas makes it easier for you if you have to score in this situation.
Yeah, hit one in the gap somewhere. Don't hit one straight at the left fielder or right fielder where you've got a bang-bang play at the plate.
Again, a 3-2 to Thomas. In the air, foul territory. The wind may bring this back. Yep, Guillen is there for the second out. Frank Thomas now hitless in 11 at-bats during this league championship series. Granted, that was a better at-bat. However, at the end of the day, another out for Thomas.
You can see he wasn't very happy with himself. Got a good pitch to hit. He just popped it up.
I think the first 2 pitches inside kind of set the stage. Made Frank jump out of the way and not able to reach out. A couple of times he fouled balls off the end of the bat.
You know, you start talking about Bradley at second base. It really puts the onus on that third base coach. Do I send him or do I hold him at third base? We've got to keep him in the ball game. So Ron Washington's looking for a ball in the gap too.
Eric Chavez, the Oakland third baseman, looks at strike one on the outside corner. Chavez quiet like Thomas, like Swisher, like Scudero during this league championship series. Eric only 2 hits and 10 at bats with a solo home run. Pulled fair up the first base line, and a fan reaches over, which allows Milton Bradley to just put it on cruise control. So Swisher watching and congratulating Milton Bradley after an RBI double from Eric Chavez.
It's good hitting right here. Nice time hit. Gets that bat right through the strike zone. Fair ball. And I think as we were talking about, he really made it easier right there. Not only for Bradley, Lou, but for Ron Washington, the third base coach.
Yeah, he was going to be very cautious sending Bradley home on what would he consider a bang-bang play. And that pitch there, Chavez stayed on top of that slider down and in and drilled it over that first base bag.
And one thing here, Tommy, is Oakland really needed this. They needed to play with a lead. That was up to Danny Hare and the rest of the guys, but they really needed this type of relief, and you can see it in Ken Maka's face.
Well, he was talking about a crooked number early in the ball game. He's got one.
The A's have only had the lead for 2 innings in this entire series. In game 2, they jumped out to a 1-0 lead, but in the very next half inning, the Tigers tied the game. In the bottom of the 3rd of game 2, Bradley hit a 2-run home run to make it 3-1. In the next half inning, the Tigers came back with 4 runs against Esteban Loaiza, and that's been it for the A's. Jay Payton takes up an in, ball 1.
There's a pitch, and looking at it closely, it seemed like it slipped out of the hand of Jeremy Bonderman. Sometimes that could be very dangerous, especially when you know you have that grip in the cold weather.
Bonderman, a former #1 pick of the Oakland Athletics back in 2001. He passed his GED exam. That's the equivalent of a high school degree, which allowed him to be drafted after his junior year of high school. He's believed to be the only player selected after just 3 years of high school. Took him a long time to get signed. Wound up being traded in a 3-way deal for Jeff Weaver. Lost 19 games his first full year in the big leagues. His ERA has come down. His win total has gone up every year since.
Forget all of that. What is a GED degree or test?
Well, it's a high school equivalency exam is what it is, and you pass it, which basically means that you're smart enough to meet all the criteria for having a high school diploma.
I was never offered one of those in high school when I went.
1-2 the count on Jay Payton.
Lou, what is ERA?
ERA, I can tell you.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
Now you're talking our language up here, Jose, right?
1-2 to Payton. In the dirt, gets away from Rodriguez. And advancing on to third is Chavez. This has been a very shaky opening inning for Jeremy Bonderman. Very little command of anything. The A's have put together very good at-bats. They've made him throw a lot of pitches in this first inning. An inning in which he's already allowed as many runs as he did in 8 1/3 innings in Game 4 of the division series against the Yankees.
Well, we talked about the roles being the reverse for these hitters. Detroit's supposed to be the free swinging team. Oakland's been just that this series. Today they're showing patience with Bonderman, and it's made a difference.
It's paid off already.
2-2 on the ground. Tough play for Inge. He's got to cut it loose. He's got a great arm and shows it off in time to get Payton. But the A's score twice. The Tigers come to bat against Danny Herron when we return. Lineup has Granderson in center, Monroe in left, Polanco at second, Maglio Ordonez in right, Carlos Guillen at first, Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate, Alexis Gomez the DH for the second time in this series, Brandon Inge at third, Ramon Santiago is the shortstop. And on the mound for the Athletics from La Puente, California, a 14-game winner during the regular season, Danny Herron. We talked about him pitching the series clincher in the division series against Minnesota. Ball one to Granderson. And our pitcher profile is brought to you by your Exxon and Mobil retailer.
He needs to keep those mechanics in check. He seems to fly open with that front shoulder. Establish that second pitch early, either your split or your slider. And more than anything, I don't care so much, Lou, about east and west, you know, inside corner, outside corner. Think down the whole way.
When he pitches down is when he's most effective. And boy, these hitters really chase that split finger. You know, one thing to watch for here, Tom, is as this inning progresses, as the game progresses, is the extent of the injury to Bradley in left field.
Curtis Granderson, a 2-1 count, a swing and a foul ball back out of play. Now, Herron was originally drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the second round back in 2001. And you may remember he came over to the A's along with Kiko Calero and Derek Barton, the catcher, in the Mark Mulder deal. And then last year went right into the rotation for the Athletics. Won 14 last year, 14 more again this year. He's a good one.
Right now you've seen Jason Kendall behind the plate, real busy. That is a good afternoon. If you see that a lot from Danny Herron, it means he's doing well.
3-2 pitch. And it's in the dirt. That's not good news for Herron, who has had his troubles in the opening inning this season. Let's take a look at the Athletics defense behind him. Jay Payton in left. Mark Kotze made a couple of spectacular plays in center field here during Game 3 yesterday. Milton Bradley, we'll keep an eye on that injury for him in right. Chavez, Scudero, Jimenez, Swisher third to first, Herron and Kendall the batter.
Okay, Lou, you made a good point regarding Bradley. Now, what do you do in terms of, from the manager's standpoint, when you see him standing out there, jumps, if he's stretching a lot, what do you do?
Well, the player is going to make that decision for you, and so is the trainer. But as long as Bradley can stay in that ball game and he can play his position defensively, the way he's swinging the bat, you got to stay with him. He's got a lot of time to rest us if Oakland doesn't win today.
Greg Monroe, the batter, and he takes strike one. And now 0-2.
Let's keep in mind on the same subject the fact that this is a very spacious ballpark, so there's a lot of ground for Bradley to cover here in Comerica Park.
Monroe 4 of 10 in the series, and that one sails high and away. He hit his first home run of this league championship series yesterday, a solo blast in the 5th off Rich Harden, which made it a 3-0 game. And for Monroe, it's his 3rd home run in this postseason. Splitter in the dirt, 2-2.
You know, Tommy, I like what Jim Leyland has done with Monroe. I mean, you give the opposing manager a different look on your lineup. You give Monroe an opportunity possibly to see more fastballs. And you balance everything out. The guy behind him is more a contact hitter in Placido Polanco.
Well, he's more of a second hitter than is Monroe.
2-2 pitch. Bottom fell out, strike 3. All right, Mr. Piniella, it's time for our keys to today's game, and they're brought to you by MasterCard.
Well, for Oakland, it's very, very simple. Do what they've done all year, and that's win big baseball games. They've gotten off to a good start. And for Detroit, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just do what you've been doing, period. End of story.
Absolutely.
Talking like a skip right there.
Better believe it.
That's the way a player wants to hear it, right?
Simple. You know, players don't have much of an attention span. If your meetings are too long, they drift a little bit.
It's kind of like you during our production meetings.
Exactly.
Strike 1 to count on Placido Polanco. What a postseason this guy's had. We talked about it in the field. He's been spectacular at the plate. 13 hits in 29 postseason at bats. And look at his numbers against Herron. Of course, that story holds true for just about every pitcher that Oakland runs out there. Polanco has just worn out the Oakland A's in his career.
I wouldn't be shocked if this at bat at some point we see Granderson go and Polanco, as Lou mentioned, being more a second place type hitter, just putting the ball in play and looking for a hole somewhere. But I know they will try to challenge the slow move by Herron to the plate and also Jason Kendall behind the plate.
And there's a bouncing ball. Jimenez, a nice play, finds a handle and throws out Polanco from his knees. Jimenez has struggled at second base during this LCS, filling in for the injured Mark Ellis. But this is a nice play and a big play.
And his teammates need to see this. Goes to his left. First of all, start with the ball. Find him. There it is. Don't look at second base. Get the sure out. Well done. Good start. There's a confidence builder right there for Danny Herron and for D'Angelo Jimenez.
And you're right. The Oakland team does need that because with Mark Ellis being hurt, Jimenez had his share of problems at second base.
Now Maglio Ordonez, with the Tigers being up 3-0, logic would dictate Ordonez has had a lot to do with it offensively. That's not been the case. Only 2 hits and 13 at bats with 2 runs batted in. Saw the veteran Kenny Rogers talking things over with Jeremy Bonderman in that dugout. Jim Leyland said, I didn't bring Kenny Rogers here to be a babysitter. I brought him here to win games, but he's done both.
And that's what a veteran pitcher is supposed to do on your pitching staff. Be somewhat of a leader. Teach your younger pitchers how to get through adversity.
It was really not just a coincidence how well they pitched throughout the postseason. I mean, we've seen this picture happen since day one against the Yankees.
You know, when young pitchers get in trouble, they want to throw harder. What you have to do is pull off the throttle a little bit. Your ball moves a little more and you locate it better.
0-2 on Ordonez. And there's that splitter again. And no chance. A pair of strikeouts in the inning for Herron. End of 1, 2-0 Athletics. 4 tough ultimate tailgate experience, and you and 7 friends can win a trip to the BCS National Championship plus the ultimate tailgate F-150. Log on to foxsports.com/tailgate. You'll be on your way to Glendale, Arizona, not a place to be hanging out in the first week of January.
It'll be sunny
and nice and cozy.
Beautiful golf weather.
Nick Swisher to lead things off, and it's ball 1 down and into Swisher, hitless in 7 at bats during this LCS. Of course, Nick is hoping that his alma mater will be playing in that BCS National Championship game. The #1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in the air to left field, and waiting is Craig Monroe. 1 away. We talked about 2 of the big hitters. Thomas knocked in over 100. Swisher knocked in 95. Oh, so quiet, this duo during the LCS.
There it is.
Well, contrary to the Detroit lineup where the 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters have been somewhat productive, Oakland 7th, 8th, and 9th has been non-existent offensively.
I can see where, you know, we talk about guys that have done the job throughout the year. Their on base was pretty decent throughout the year, but also the guys on the bottom, Scudero, you know, Ellis. But when you're going to face great pitching like you will do in the postseason, you cannot put so much emphasis on the bottom of that lineup.
Well, your big guys have to do it, no question.
Marcos Scudero, a bouncing ball, a 2-hopper at the first baseman, Carlos Guillen, 2 away. Let's again check in with Chris Myers.
Time it down from here on the field in left field. We saw that first out that the left fielder has sun in his eyes, but the Tiger batters were talking about at this time of day at the plate, the shadows give the pitcher a distinct advantage, and some of the A's players were talking how important it was to get up early because the hitter is in the shade and then looking out in the sunlight, and it should go on for at least another 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it's tough to pick up the spin, especially on the breaking balls or the rotation on the split finger. And I'll tell you what, too, Chris, 53-degree weather doesn't help either.
Jimenez pulls it to the right side, and Bonderman, a nice bounce-back inning, mows him down in order. Ian Rodriguez Gomez coming up. Tigers trail by 2.
Really swinging the bat. So Taguchi runs into a fastball once again. Wow.
Carlos Guillen, first pitch swinging, is down a strike against Danny Herron. The Athletic scored twice in the opening frame against Jeremy Bonderman.
Talking about that St. Louis Mets game. Spezio with 2 big at-bats, too, late in the ball game.
Oh, yeah. Had that game-tying 2-run triple that just missed getting out of the ballpark against Guillermo Mota. And Lou, I know that you were sitting there watching that game, and sometimes a manager been around as long as you have, you win a World Series title. Sometimes you walk out to the mound and maybe the body language by a pitcher isn't what you want. And you were a little curious about Mota's body language late in that game yesterday.
Yeah, usually you like to see that pitcher look at you when you're talking to him. And Mota was looking down on the ground, and I don't know if Willie got his attention or not.
And by the way, Jose, you're no relation to Guillermo Mota.
No relation to Guillermo Mota.
Okay. That one on the outside corner is strike 3. Third strikeout of the game for Danny Herron. Mike Maroff kind enough to wear a microphone for us, talking about the weather, our Fox sounds of the game.
Normally you would say 51 degrees is cold, but compared to yesterday, everybody's happy. You didn't hear the fans cheering when they said 51 degrees?
I'm in the shade now. You know you're cold.
A little bit.
You got the same stuff on I do except for the beanie.
You got gloves on.
And the hoodie.
You just look like you're going skiing, I'm telling you.
And the tights I got under my pants.
You pull your hat down a little bit further, make it look like goggles. There it is. Now you look like you're going. You're ready to go. Let's find the snow.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's easy for Maroth to say that. He's nice and bundled. He's got his cap on. He's got his gloves on. He's got 2 jackets on. He's not getting in the ball game. He'll stay warm the whole time.
On the ground to the shortstop, Scudero, and Ivan Rodriguez thrown out. 2 up and 2 down here in the second. Yeah, he's not on the postseason roster.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It could be 30 degrees and he'll feel good about it.
Verlander saying, fastball's in, fastball's in. Yeah, fastball's in. It's a little cold.
That's right.
Danny Herron very sharp early on. He's not allowed to hit. He walked the very first batter he faced in the game, Granderson, and has retired the next 5. Here's Alexis Gomez. 3 hits and 5 at bats. And of course, all 5 at bats, all 3 hits for Gomez. Came in his game 2 start. He had a 2-run single. That was in the 4th inning, just off the glove of Eric Chavez to give the Tigers a 4-3 lead. Into the 6th at a 2-run home run off Esteban Loaiza to make it a 4-run game.
Really ran into one, just what Jim Leyland was hoping for.
Take a look at that home run he hit against Loaiza. There was very little doubt about it when it left the bat.
Well, he got that hanging breaking ball, and he did what a good major league hitter is supposed to do with it.
Well, here's a good story throughout the season. He was actually designated for assignment twice this year by the Tigers.
Well, he golfs that one into right field. We'll take a look at the replay on that pitch. That looked about shoe top high. First hit today for Detroit.
Very confident young man right here. Watch him go with his legs, though. Look at this. The hit's right on the contact point. Actually, a pitch that you see the catcher, Kendall, getting ready to block.
Really down in the zone. Well, left-hand hitters are usually good low ball hitters. And this young man went down and got that ball.
Gomez, his 4th hit in 6 at-bats in this series, and now Brandon Inge. And there's a strike. Inge 3 of 9 with a home run, 3 runs batted in during this league championship series. All 3 hits came in game 1 when he had a solo home run and an RBI double. Was on base 4 times in the opening game. Strike 2.
Herron continues to do a good job with nice rhythm, pushing off nicely, not opening up that left shoulder, which makes him fly off to the right. And more than anything, he's just focusing on that target by Jason Kendall. I like his focus right now.
pitch in the dirt all the way to the screen, and Gomez in a scoring position.
As I mentioned before, it'll be a busy afternoon for Jason Kendall. He did everything in his power to try to block that pitch, but it's just impossible to block every single pitch. He knows it. Scripted a little bit too hard, Luke.
Held on to it just a little bit too long. Tried to throw it a little bit too hard. That's what happens.
Got to be thinking, knock the ball down. A very slow infield grass here in Detroit.
Oh, what a nasty splitter that is. Herron has working here today. That's 4 strikeouts. 2-0 Athletics. In the third inning, the A's scored twice against Bonderman in the opening frame and lead 2-0. Kendall struck out leading off the game, and here he's behind 0-2. For more on Jason Kendall, let's check in with Chris Myers.
Yeah, Tom, we've seen him busy behind the plate. His teammates, regardless of the situation, call him Mr. Intensity. When he first came to the A's, the legend goes they were taking a team photo and they purposely wanted to dirty up the jersey. And they used a tire track to go over the jersey to make it look like it was the baseball effect, and he was upset by that. He said, you don't disrespect the jersey, you have to earn the dirt.
And he might be saying something dirty to Chuck Merriweather, who's rung him up twice today.
Oh, that was a dirty pitch.
Really a good pitcher's pitch with 2 strikes. But it was a strike.
Here's what I've been looking at. I want to see what type of adjustments Jeremy Bonderman makes second time through the order, knowing that Oakland made him work a lot that first time through the order, and to see if Oakland keeps the same approach too.
Kotsay walked and scored in the first inning. And Bonderman with a 1-ball and 1-strike count on Mark Kotsay.
It's a good job right there. He's trying to run that 2-seam fastball in on the lefties. Make sure it nips the corner at the very end.
1-1 to Kotsay. Came with a fastball in the outside corner, and it's fouled away. You see the radar gun at Bonderman. Much like Verlander and Rodney out of the bullpen, Big Zamaya out of the bullpen. Hard throwers, power pitching for the Detroit Tigers.
And in postseason, there's no substitute for power pitchers.
Came back with a slider there at 90 miles per hour. Now Zamaya's status for today, we have to wait and see. Jim Leland had not seen Joel Zamaya when we met with the skipper earlier today. He was better yesterday, but he was not under any circumstances going to pitch Zamaya in Game 3. That ball smoked into right, but right at Ordonez. 2 are out in the inning. Mike Morrall talking about his running mate Jeremy Bonderman. Our Fox sounds of the game.
Maybe they saw Bondo's last game against New York, where he had 6 balls in the 5th inning for the entire game. Then he had 8 balls in the 6th. So they must have saw that and said, oh, he's throwing strikes, you better swing.
That one dropped into left center field off the bat of Bradley, and he is still feeling a lot of pain over there at first base. You got to wonder how much longer Bradley can stay in this game. He just cannot run.
The key is there's no tomorrow, but right now, with a healthy 100% leg, Milton Bradley would have been at second base sliding. But he knows how to play safe. There's no tomorrow, and right now, I mean, he can't even think about getting himself out of this ball game.
Yeah, he's got to stay in the ball game. Wise choice, staying at first.
First pitch, hacking Frank Thomas had a good swing on that fastball, but fouls it straight back.
Well, Marath was talking, Tommy, about doing their homework. To me, I wouldn't have used the words maybe. They were watching to see what Bonderman had done before throwing strikes, and they've applied it to the game so far.
Thomas lifts a fly ball in a straightaway center field. Easy for Granderson, and Frank Thomas is 0 for 12 in the LCS.
The illusion of the strike. He's a master at it. And that's what strikes out a lot of major league hitters.
20 years ago, Kenny Rogers and I were teammates in Double-A.
Bunted up the first base line by Santiago, and he is thrown out by Danny Herron. A very solid start to this game for the Oakland starter for a change. Now Harden wasn't bad yesterday. Allowed 3 runs in 5 2/3, but the first 2 games could not have gone worse for Ken Macha's starting pitchers. Barry Zito 3 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs in game 1. Esteban Loaiza 6 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs.
There's something to be said when you make a hitter think more and more on 1. You make him think more about the next pitch than 1-0. 1-0, he's going to be sitting on something pretty to hit. On 1, you just never know.
He's fallen behind Granderson here, 2-0. Kenny Macha very upbeat before the game today. He said, I have a good team. I feel like we can win 4 straight games.
Yeah, we even saw him holding a bat like Lou Piniella down there. You can hit, Lou.
Well, he had a little.
He was confident.
Yeah, but he had a little bit of a thick handle bat. I use a thinner variety.
2-1 to count on Curtis Granderson. Full foul. And you got to believe that splitter's coming again. Herron early on has it working, has it moving. And already with 4 strikeouts, all of them on the split finger fastball today.
Shadows or sun, no matter what. Right now, he's got a nice deception going on.
We saw the grip. Here it is. See you later.
Everything looks like a fastball, and I was talking before in the open regarding Bonderman, but this guy also has some electric stuff, and everything right now is based on what? The graphic you saw with the scouting report on thinking down and really repeating your mechanics.
Thinking down is right. Look at that ball tumble. Pitch is almost impossible to hit. Again, the illusion of the strike.
How it applies to no matter how hard or how soft you throw.
Even throwing that splitter on the first pitch to get ahead, 0-1 on Monroe, who struck out his first time up.
Just take a look at that grip, and you see him sometimes holding it between pitches, but it all starts with a glove. His big hand. Now when he comes up, everything looks like a fastball. Great arm speed. Boom.
And there's a fastball, and there's more than enough fastball. He's been throwing right around 94, 95, 96 to start this game.
Well, he's a big, strong kid. Really nice delivery. A little pause right at the top of it, which makes it even a little harder for these Detroit hitters to get the timing. You almost double clutch as a hitter because he slows you down.
There's a double clutch. There's a swing. You can't stop. I talked to Vladimir Guerrero, great Angel slugger, about this. He goes, this guy makes me triple clutch.
1-2. Came back with a fastball at 97 and missed badly up and away. 2-2 to Monroe.
Well, you made a good point, and I think right now, watching Danny Herron, it's almost like he's pitching with men in scoring position every single time by thinking softer, not harder.
And there's strike 3 called a fastball right down the can. Monroe was looking for the splitter. 6 strikeouts for Herron. Chavez to begin things with Oakland leading 2-0. About prescription, Crestor by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan, Chevy, on American Revolution. 2 runs, 3 hits for the A's, already with 1 more hit than they had in 9 innings yesterday. And Eric Chavez, first pitch swinging, a fly ball at Granderson in center field. 1 away. We caught up with Kenny Rogers before the game yesterday and asked him about working with this young Detroit pitching staff.
You've got a lot of input to help other players and pitchers that may significantly improve their careers just by a few words here and there that may minimize their downtime where they're struggling, just by being able to recollect something you may have told them. If it's not today or tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now, and it could have an impact.
And there they are talking in between. You know, when I was in Seattle, I was fortunate. I was there 10 years, and I had Jamie Moyer on my staff, and he did basically the same thing that Kenny Rogers is doing here with the young Tiger pitchers.
In the air, pretty well hit off the bat of Jay Payton. Monroe back to the wall, looks up, goodbye. Jay Payton, his first home run of his postseason, and it gives Oakland a 3-0 lead in the fourth.
This is the momentum that Oakland has been waiting for the whole series. Some good swings. Guys make an adjustment, and shortening swings down has been the key. Here's a contact point. Location, ooh, that one really slipped. He knew it. He had it.
Yeah, that ball just spun, hung up in the zone, and Payton got all of it. Really nice swing, head right on the ball, some weight shift. Look at Gerald Perry. He's been struggling a little bit here. He takes it really hard. I had Gerald in Seattle, and he really takes pride in his hitters hitting the ball well. Works exceedingly hard, and he was happy today. It's nice to see.
Those guys work hard, man. They put countless hours. They suffer with those hitters. They enjoy with their hitters, but also think, Tommy, that unfair sometimes where everything is put on the hitting coach.
Yeah, you can prepare a guy as much as you want, but boy, when you get to the ball game, you got to get it done at home plate, and you got to do it yourself.
0-2 on Nick Swisher. Rolls over one foul. Still 0-2 on Swisher. Still hitless like Thomas in this series.
Yeah, they need this young man here to start hitting the ball. He's certainly capable of carrying you when he gets hot.
The guys watching him closely, as you saw before, Frank Thomas from that dugout.
Came with a fastball, and it's ripped down the right field line. It'll fall foul. Didn't hit it all that hard. Maybe caught it off the end of the bat.
Well, sometimes it gets started. You need to hit one off the hands. You need to bloop one in. You need to cue a ball, and all of a sudden, boy, I can hit again. That confidence factor plays such a big part, doesn't it, Jose?
And that cold weather right off the end of the bat. Ouch. Confidence, Lou, you mentioned it. Name of the game.
You can see that Swisher's bat here, he's got the cup at the end. Doesn't have the regular bat.
Swisher back in there with an 0-2 count. Fastball sails high, one in, one out, nobody on. The Athletics here in the top half of the fourth inning in game 4 of this ALCS with a 3-0 lead.
I love this. Team leader watching, trying to pick something up from that pitcher that he can pass along to his teammates.
He's right on the top step of that dugout. He's ready to get in at bat this inning again.
He started behind Gerald Perry. Look where he is right now. He wants to get up there, man. Gotta love that.
Break-even pitch to Swisher is into right field. This one will stay fair, and there's Nick Swisher's first base hit of this league championship series. Swisher, a very hard turn around the first base bag, and that's the way Nick Swisher plays the game.
And that's what Lou Piniella was talking about. Little confidence here and there. Look what happens, Lou.
Well, nice swing here by Swisher. Lines his ball in the right field. Makes a big turn around first base as he thinks he's got a double. Whoops, all of a sudden, back to first. Ordonez came up with it. Strong throw to second base. Good hustling baseball.
Keep the inning alive. Frank Thomas, one of the guys to enjoy the most.
Well, Oakland's got a 3-0 lead here. You got a little speed at first base. You got a guy that can make some contact. I know Oakland doesn't like to hit and run too much. They don't like to play that type of game, but boy, I'll tell you what, it's a great time to put the game in motion.
Well, let's see if Ken Maka decides to do so. He doesn't have many guys up and down his lineup that can run, and doesn't have a lot of guys that you can play hit and run with, but Scutaro is certainly one of those hitters.
Well, the timing is right. Marcus Scutaro also scuffling a little bit, and a lot of times hitters will look for a sign like a hit and run to actually shorten the swing and say, manager, thank you very much. That's all I needed to track the ball longer because I needed to just put the ball in play.
Slow little roller by the mound. Inge is there. What a nice play by Brandon Inge. On to second goes Swisher. 2 gone.
Pudge Rodriguez not forgetting the fact that you have to play the game, follow the ball, but also understand where there might be some opens in your defense. You cannot allow that guy to round third base and go too far.
Well, you can see that the ball is slowly hit by the pitcher. Both infielders converge, and you can see Rodriguez, the catcher, going over to cover third base. Just outstanding baseball. Really good fundamental baseball by the Tigers.
D'Angelo Jimenez, first pitch swinging down a strike. A runner in scoring position for the A's. They're trying to add on to this 3-0 lead. With all the postseason struggles for the Athletics with runners in scoring position, you certainly can't involve Jimenez in any of that. It's his first at bat in such situations. One and one.
Now look at this guy right here, how close he is. Center fielder. Granderson understands the fact that Juan Washington with 2 outs is going to be fairly aggressive. There's nobody covering, keeping this guy close. So the importance of being aggressive on defense with a slow ground slew, I think, takes place right here with Granderson where he is playing.
In the air, right center field. Granderson is in, not the left in. But Jay Payton makes it a 3-0 lead in favor of the A's, hitting his first postseason home run this year. Postseason and World Series through the year 2013. How about that? Welcome back to Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan, where a sellout crowd is hoping to celebrate a trip to the World Series. But Milton Bradley, Jay Payton, and Danny Herron and company out to a 3-0 lead after 3.5. Part of the order for Detroit against Herron, Polanco, Ordonez, and Guillen. Herron has only allowed 1 hit, struck out 6. He walked the first batter of the game, but only 1 base runner since then.
And Oakland was a little concerned that this young man had piled up too many innings. I think that's why they held him in the 4th spot in this rotation.
And look at Polanco to start things here in the bottom of the 4th inning with a base hit. We caught up with Ken Maka in between innings, asked his impressions thus far of Danny Herron.
Strikes, a little nervous there first. Walks the first hitter, but he's throwing strikes, and he's staying in his delivery, and he's getting a lot of swings and misses with a split. So I talked to you guys earlier. I said sometime he falls off to the first base side and gets under the ball a little bit and leaves the split up. But today, so far, he's been burying that thing.
Kenny, in our pregame meeting, you talked about, boy, I'd like to see some crooked numbers early in the ball game.
All right. A couple more. We need a couple more. I said a 5 spot in the first, Lou. 5 spot in the first, but
you were happy with 2, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, after being shut out last night, and some people saying, well, your club seems a little quiet. No, we come right out and jump on them for 2. So there's a lot of fight left in this club, and get a nice game out of Danny. Who knows what's happening tomorrow?
Kenny, thanks for the time.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Right, same here.
Boy, he is such an enjoyable guy to be around. We have very much enjoyed the last 3 days getting together with Ken Maka before the game. Probably best described as truly a meat and potatoes sort of guy. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Again, we talk about a guy being nasty and throwing strikes and following through. A different look, something different, just a curveball down. Again, down is a key. Nice grip of that follow through. It's not a roller. That's a snapper.
Leadoff man aboard for the Tigers here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Ordonez got jammed with that pitch. Lifts a fly ball in the short left center. Kotze's got it, 1 away.
Oh, Tom, you talk about enjoyable guy. How about Big Papa here to my left? Big Lou Pineda.
What about Big Lou?
Habla español, habla inglés, anything.
Well, in Tampa, you've got to be bilingual.
You've done it well, my friend.
I'll tell you what, you look at both of these clubs, the 4th hitters on both of these teams have struggled somewhat.
Oh, yeah, not somewhat. A lot. Frank Thomas, the cleanup hitter for the Athletics, hitless in 12 at-bats. Maglio Ordonez, now only 2 hits in 15 at-bats.
Not unusual, as you point that out, to have guys in postseason who are the meat of the order guys, because you know what? The spotlight is mainly on them, and it's a history throughout postseason that You'll see a number 8 guy get hot, number 2 guy get hot, but usually the story once in a while will be a number 4 or 5 hitter.
Boy, don't tell that to Reggie Jackson.
No. Mr. October.
He liked that postseason climate.
Ball one outside to Carlos Guillen. You know, really, you look at the heart of the order for both of these teams. Talking about Bradley, Thomas, Chavez for the Athletics. Now, Polanco is not your typical number 3 guy. That's not where he's hit all year long, but because of the injury to Sean Casey, he's hitting 3 now. We'll take him out of the mix. On to second, and in there safely is Polanco on that pitch in the dirt.
Well, this is good aggressive baseball by Polanco. The ball's in the dirt. The catcher Kendall does a nice job of blocking and keeping in front of him. But Polanco gets a good jump and goes into second base scoring position.
You know what I like there? I think he comes from a different school. The minute Polanco saw the knees going down, he says, I'm going to take a chance. I've already seen enough pitches where he doesn't handle the ball cleanly because they're hitting the dirt. It's good base run.
To finish his thought on the Detroit side about the heart of their order, Ordonez, Guillen, and Rodriguez have only knocked in 3 runs in this entire series. I mean, you consider Alexis Gomez started 1 game and has knocked in more runs than Ordonez, Guillen, and Pudge Rodriguez combined. But a chance for Guillen right now.
This crowd wants something on the board now.
Ball 4, and Detroit has something working against Herron in the 4th inning. When it's one thing for Pudge Rodriguez to come to the plate with the bases empty as he did his first time up today. But in his career, a .419 batter with runners in scoring position during the postseason. That's 5th best all time.
Visit by Jason Kendall to the mound just to make sure back on the same page, not to overthrow, not to even over try here to be too perfect.
Yeah, the message, let's get ahead of the hitter and let's bury that split finger.
Well, the command not as sharp for Herron pitching out of the stretch here in this inning. Nothing wrong with that pitch, however. Slider on the outside corner, a strike.
The second time this inning, he's used a different look. Now, instead of up down with a curveball, he goes with a short slider. It's a nice sweeping slider right there.
0-1 to Pudge Rodriguez with 2 on and 1 out. He chased again on the outside corner, and Herron quickly ahead at 0-2.
He had Pudge thinking pull the whole way, came back again, made a nice pitch away.
Oh, and 2 the count on Ivan Rodriguez. Polanco the runner at second. Guillen on at first. That was abuse at bat.
Well, he throws 2 pitches on the outside part of the plate. He gets Pudge leaning just a little bit. And look at that pitch. He hits Kendall's glove perfectly.
Pudge had too much going in that direction, which is this direction right here. Unable to reach that pitch. Great follow through once again. Everything looks like that fastball, Lou, I'll tell you.
Well, the arm speed is what sells the pitch to the hitter. And if you slow up your arm speed, the hitter knows something off speed's coming.
Now Gomez, and he's down a strike on that tumbling pitch again, down and away from a left-handed batter.
I think, Tommy, has really come down to how many comfortable swings have we seen so far from the Tigers? Not that many.
No, in fact, even the base hit by Polanco was nothing more than a bouncing ball through the hole into left field.
Yeah, I'd seen Herron pitch before. I just didn't realize how good a split finger he really has.
0-1 to Gomez, who golfed a single about ankle high into right field, his only at bat today.
And notice, Gomez hit the split finger for a base hit. Herron came in with that fastball right in on the belt.
1-1 on Alexis Gomez. That one stayed up in the strike zone a little bit. Herron perhaps getting away with one there. He's in front 1-2.
That was a good swing on a high fastball. Location once again. Saw it well, but didn't strike well. He knew it right away, too.
Boy, this young man takes a nice, healthy cut at the ball.
Gomez only had 1 home run during the regular season, but Jim Leyland says he has unbelievable power.
5 o'clock power.
And that bat splintered all over the infield. And that'll end the inning. We're back after a break from your local Fox station. Three runs, 5 hits for Oakland. No runs and 2 hits for Detroit against Danny Herron. I mean, it's an old cliche, but how true it is. When you're down 3 games to none, it is just win one game at a time.
It sounds easy, but it's hard to do. And when you're 0-3, you're almost thinking, we got nothing to lose. Play our game, stay within ourselves. But 3-0 sometimes adds a lot of pressure to that team at front.
Breaking ball away, swung on and missed by Kendall. Well, we talked about it. I mean, it's nearly impossible, the odds, in trying to come back from 3 games to none. 28 major league teams have faced that deficit in a postseason best-of-7 series, and only the 2004 Boston Red Sox came back to win, trailing 3-0. Santiago throws out Kendall to begin the 5th.
Well, you're facing good pitching every day, and that's the major reason. In postseason, you're going to be facing a good major league pitcher. And good major league pitcher usually shuts down good major league hitting.
We tried to bring up with Jim Leyland before the game, you know, how special a trip to the World Series would be with the Detroit Tigers. He was drafted by the Tigers as a minor league catcher and spent the first 18 years of his baseball life as a professional in the Tigers organization. But Lou Piniella, you managed a World Series champion in Cincinnati in 1990. Jim Leyland said, we aren't in the World Series yet.
Well, he needs to win 1 more ball game. And talking about Jim Leyland, I never realized that he spent so much time in the minor leagues. He really learned his trade well. I didn't get that opportunity, thank God. I went straight from playing to managing in about 1.5 years, and I had to learn at the big league level. But boy, 18 years as a minor league manager in the Tiger organization, that's a lot.
Quite a grind. Now, the other thing I enjoyed asking Jimmy Leyland was making comparisons. Something that says there's no way to compare other teams that I've had to what I had.
Something special everywhere.
Exactly. He considers even unfair to say, hey, expectations, when I compare, no, that's not fair.
He said he got himself in a little bit of hot water. We'll talk about that in a moment as Bradley pops one up down the right field line. Ordonez is there. And 1, 2, 3, 5th for Bonderman. Bottom 3rd in the order coming up. First visit to downtown Detroit this summer, and well, they have done some wonderful things in this downtown area. Had the All-Star game, of course, here last year, and we very much enjoyed our time over in Greektown last night.
The football stadium right across the street.
Yep, Ford Field.
Things are starting to happen here at Detroit.
0-1 the count on Brandon Inge, who leads things off. Here in the Tigers' 5th, they've only managed a total of 2 base hits against Danny Herron, who's thrown a first pitch strike to 13 of the 17 Tiger hitters that he's faced today. Well, Herron just has everything working early in this game, and when you see a starting pitcher who possesses the kind of stuff Herron has, and when he has all of it working, the slower curveball, slider, fastball, split, command of each of them, it could be for a long day for the Detroit Tigers.
So far, Tommy, it has been. The main thing is he's been very consistent with his mechanics, not overstriding, which has made his arm angle and release point very consistent throughout the afternoon.
Pounded into the ground. That is a fair ball, and the throw gets by Swisher and into the stands. Well, you got to wonder if Chavez, even with a good throw, would have had it there in time to get Inge.
Gold Glover right here. Ball's tapped, but now Chavez knows this ball. He has to think it's going to stay fair the whole way. And maybe he should have thought about just saving it. His nature, though, is to be aggressive and try to make plays. He's done it for so many years in that hot corner for the A's. A tougher play when you have a left-handed first baseman out there crossing for that runner.
And here it's important for Santiago to either get Inge in or to advance the runner.
Santiago bounced out to the mound on a bunt attempt up the first baseline. His first at bat. Now back out of play, and Heron ahead 0-2.
These are the kind of things that has made the Tigers get this far. Is making mistakes really pay off for them. Punishing the opposition when this happens.
By the way, that was an infield hit by Inge and then a throwing error by Chavez, allowing him to advance 90 feet. Solid work there by Santiago. He advances the runner with a ground ball to the right side, one away. We caught up with Jim Leland in between innings and asked about the adjustments Jeremy Bonderman has made since a shaky first.
Well, he's done okay, but he, you know, as we talked earlier, sometimes he's going to have some problems with left-hand hitters, and that's happened a little bit today.
Jimmy, Heron's got a really good split finger pitch going for Oakland.
Yeah, but the big thing, Lou, is he does, and there were some shadows early, but the big thing is we've taken too many fastballs. You're not going to hit that good split. You got to look up on him, and you got to hunt the fastball because you can't handle a split anyway. So we've had some real poor at-bats, I thought, so far.
Jimmy, much was made from some of your players talking to them about the shadows early part of the game. The sun back behind them. Should that get a little better now?
Yeah, it's okay now. So there's no excuses, and, you know, they're hitting in the same shadows, so it doesn't make any difference. But the split is a little tougher in that situation.
Jimmy, thanks for the time.
Sure.
All right, Detroit a scoring chance with a runner at third and 1 out, 0-1 on Curtis Granderson, who has walked and struck out swinging.
Well, Santiago did his job. He advanced the runner. Now Granderson basically has to do the same here. Get this run in.
Use the middle of the field, stay on the ground.
Obviously, the Oakland infield conceding the run, leading 3-0. Heron trying to pound Granderson in.
When you take the pitcher's perspective, that's what he's going to try to do, make it as tough as possible for him. In this situation, you think more in and out, so there's less plate coverage for the hitter.
Beautifully smothered there by Kendall. When you throw that splitter, you're going to have a high number of wild pitches over the course of a year.
Fundamentally sound. Great shot right there with a fox cover on third and going to his right, shifting his weight. Here's the key: shift your weight, center the ball. Perfectly done.
Well, these catchers do a lot of that in spring training, don't
they? 2-1. Breaking ball, it stayed up in the zone and fouled out a play by Granderson. Jimmy Leyland talking about Granderson before the game. He said, I don't know if he'll ever be a superstar. He might be. He said, but one thing I know for sure, every ounce of talent that he's been blessed with, he will maximize that talent. Great kid, takes great care of himself. Swung on and fouled out a play. Said, I don't have to worry about this kid showing up every day to the ballpark, not ready to play. Andy Van Slyke made the comment to us yesterday that if he had a daughter, and Andy does not, but he said if he did, Curtis Granderson is the kind of kid he wants his daughter to marry.
That's high praise for a young man. Let's see if he can hit this split finger now.
Well, he didn't say anything about having a daughter marry a guy that could hit a split finger. Did he? He just liked him.
He should like him. He is a very likable young man. But Leland will like him a lot better here if he can hit the split finger.
3-2 the count.
It's a complete package.
And he hit it into right center field. A base hit to bring in Brandon Inge. Granderson to second, to slide, to throw. He's safe. So Van Slyke likes him, and Leland likes him.
Well, really, really good hitting here. There's a nice pitch. Great plate coverage. With 2 strikes, all you've got to do is make contact, and he does that and more, and a really nice slide in the second base.
And here's from a guy that had trouble making contact during the regular season. A lot of strikeouts, but talk about a way of energizing this crowd by the at-bat and also by the base running. Very aggressive base running.
Great point, Jose. This young man struck out 170 times during the regular season, but he's coming of age here in postseason.
Sure is. Well, baseball today and tonight. Tomorrow, back to the NFL as Fox NFL Sunday returns. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles go to New Orleans to take on the resurgent Saints or other regional action. It all begins with this week. America's #1 pregame show at noon Eastern tomorrow, 9 Pacific, right here on Fox. And all of a sudden, this jam-packed crowd at Comerica Park. Plenty to be excited about. Monroe, 3 home runs during this postseason. Looks at a strike. .78 pitches in the game now for Danny Herron. 1 in, 1 on, 1 out, last of the 5th. That ball hammered into left field. And Payton cannot get it. It goes to the wall, and Granderson will score. Monroe to second, a 1-run game.
Take a look here, the swing. He gets the top of the ball. That makes it hard for Jay Payton to actually judge how far that ball was going to carry. He had a tumbling effect going down. He thought it was going to carry a little bit more. Risky play, but also a very costly play right now. At the end, Granderson playing it right, making sure that ball's not caught.
Now Polanco with a tying run at second. The fastball is down low.
And that ball just hooking away from the left fielder Payton. Tried to shoestring it out there, but got by him for a double.
(2-0).
This is, Tom, where I want to see Denny Herron try less. I think right now trying to throw harder is not going to get it done.
Down the middle, taken by Polanco, who has 6 hits and 14 career at-bats against Danny Herron.
Yeah, swinging as well as he has and the success he's had against Herron, I'm surprised he took that fastball.
Three balls and a strike. Well, he took 2-0. But Lou, if he gets that fastball 3-1, you got to believe he's hacking, right?
Yeah, he's going to cut it loose here. Polanco's not a home run hitter, but this is the type of situation when you're a good professional hitter like he is, he can get an RBI.
Third time around the order, guys, has been much different for these hitters against Danny Herron.
Saw Joe Kennedy getting loose in the Oakland bullpen, 3-1. Got a fastball, hit a line drive, and a double play will end the inning. That is bad base running there by Monroe. Tigers get 2 and trail by a run. For the A's, 2 runs and 5 hits for the Tigers. Lou, you've been talking about that fellow we just saw a moment ago all afternoon long.
That's Detroit, baby. That guy looks like he's in Ralph Crandon's Raccoon Lodge Club.
He's ready for the occasion, man. He wants to celebrate tonight.
Oh, he's got that green raccoon type hat. It's cold. It's getting colder.
It is. It is getting chilly. 2-0 to Frank Thomas. 3-0.
Tell you what, when you're struggling like Frank is, a walk really feels good. You feel like you're helping your ball club.
And here's a guy with a reputation to walk a lot.
There's our buddy.
3-0 on Thomas. And ball 4 up and in. Oh, Frank Thomas is our HP personality and looks profiled. The man known as the Big Hurt. Tell you a little bit about Frank. Likes that R&B, a little bit of hip hop. And he's big enough to dress as a wrestler. And the only thing he wants, stranded on a desert isle, water.
But not salty water.
No.
Is that what it is?
I tell you, I mean, that's a good answer. You ain't gonna be hanging around long without that. Well, you really got to wonder about Chavez in this series. There's a bouncing ball, and they get the lead runner. Bonderman starts the inning walking Thomas on 4 straight pitches. And Chavez is up there first pitch hacking. Hard to understand.
Look at it both ways. Chavez is thinking, hey, I'm going to see something good to hit. Did he see it? Most likely, but I think, Lou, also the pressure. I'm trying to be too perfect. I'm scoring the ball. He rolled right over that.
Yeah, he rolled right over that pitch, and when you do that, you either get the ground ball topper to first base or the ground ball to second.
Now Jay Payton, he bounced to third, ending the opening inning at a solo home run in the 4th. He looks at a strike for more on Chavez. Let's check in with Chris Meyer.
Thomas, not an excuse, but he is playing hurt. You mentioned early in this series the tendonitis in both arms. He tried acupuncture. A traveling massage therapist helped him out there, but he has a hamstring and tendon problem, which has affected his defense, and in this cooler weather can affect him hitting the ball as well.
Chris, thank you very much. There's no debate about that. I mean, Chavez has laid it all on the line the entire year. He is the ultimate team player. Went to his manager earlier this season and said, hey, look, I know I can help us on defense. I'm killing us on offense. Bat me 9th if you want. No big deal. This should be a double play ball. And a little confusion over there, and they can't turn the double play. Polanco not feeding. So they cut down the lead runner. And that's all.
Well, right there, Polanco trying to do too much. He's got to understand that the ball's not hit very hard, but you have to think about the guy to your right. In fact, there was that guy on the right that maybe threw him off balance, but smartly, you have to get rid of the ball right here.
Yeah, he almost runs into Santiago, the shortstop, and he should have given him that quick, crisp flip. And with Santiago's momentum carrying him to first base, he got the double play ball.
Bonderman wanted it, didn't get it. Now he's got to face Nick Swisher, who went through his first 8 bats in this series without a hit. That was until his last at bat in the 4th.
Tommy, got to give a lot of credit to Jay Payton running it out the whole way.
Well, oftentimes you'll see a good hitter go through a long dry spell, but once they get that first hit, all of a sudden things get rolling. We'll see if that is the case for Nick Swisher.
Watching him take batting practice today, the emphasis was from batting coach Gerald Perry, think middle the other way and react inside. That's been our strength. Stay right with it.
That's good advice from the hitting coach.
1-0 to Swisher. And he takes down low. He's putting himself in a good hitter's count.
He can really use a ball in the gap right now and see Jay Payton run. Change the momentum just a bad.
Swisher looking for something to hammer here. He's hoping for a Bonderman fastball at 2-0. He got it. He swung hard and fouled it off.
I think that's a very similar swing to what we also saw from Eric Chavez, the point you were making regarding that fastball that he just rolled over. But there, the swing right there, Lou was thinking only one thing: pull the ball.
Yeah, and he was thinking power. Right field seats. You know, the right field seats are very inviting here in Detroit, and no ball has been hit there yet in this series.
2-1 delivery. rolled over to the first baseman, and that will end the inning. The Tigers back in the dugout. They trail by 1. And as the sun falls into the western sky, it's getting chilly. We begin the bottom of the 6th. A bullet into left field. We're tied. Left a vapor trail off the bat of Maglio Ordonez, and we're even in the 6th.
That was a serious linea right out of here. The minute I made contact, he knew he had a chance. Short, compact swing, picked up the ball quite early right here. Spinner didn't do much.
Well, just a hanging breaking ball that didn't do much is right. Just hung right in the middle of the plate, and Ordonez really put a good swing on it. Lined it into the left field seat. There's no doubt when he hit it. You see the reaction of the Tiger players.
All about location right here. Right in the wheelhouse. Made it very comfortable for him to pick it up.
You want that breaking ball in that bottom outside zone as opposed to that middle zone.
Ordonez, his first home run of this league championship series. And there's a rocket into right field by Guillen. Herron with 86 pitches. He gave up 2 runs in the 5th inning after pitching 2-hit shutout baseball through the front 4. Joe Kennedy is ready in the bullpen, but Herron will stay in at least to face Ivan Rodriguez.
No, Tom, even though he got out of that inning in the 5th, there's 5 straight hitters who have made solid contact so far. That creates a lot of concern.
Well, the double play ball by Polanco last inning, that ball was smoked also.
Well, here's Rodriguez. And would this be a situation, Lou Piniella, in a 3-3 game if you're Jim Leyland? Rodriguez, a guy who puts a bat on the ball. Do you start a runner and keep the pressure on?
Now they're swinging the bats well here. No outs. You let this guy just hit.
On the same token, Danny Herron thinking the same way, Tommy, is he knows he needs to do everything in his power
well, he
to
might
help
be,
Jason Kennedy.
Excuse me. He might be throwing out there just to give the pitcher a little more time to get ready.
Well, you're right. Here comes Ken Macher. That's going to do it for Herron. Kennedy will come on from the bullpen. They're feeling it in the Motor City. The Tigers have tied the game at 3. Went to Cooley High School. Joined the Marine Corps. Had a chance for a baseball contract from the Tigers. After his stint in the Marine Corps, decided to go into the pizza business. And that was a pretty wise choice.
And talk about having an idea as to what is at stake here, Tommy.
Strike 1 to Ivan Rodriguez from a new pitcher, left-hander Joe Kennedy.
Well, talking about Mike, the owner, Illich. You can't play on the team, you just buy it.
Absolutely. Well, you're right, Jose. I mean, when you're born and raised in a city, that team in your city is in your blood forever. Swung on and fouled out of play by Rodriguez. I mean, all of you out there know what I'm talking about. You grow up somewhere, they're your team. You're rooting for them since you were a kid. And for Illich, that is the case with the Detroit Tigers.
In a way, it creates an identification with the local fans right away. A lot of credibility.
Just off the inside corner. Now, the Oakland bullpen, even without one of their best, has been superb in this series. 10 2/3 innings. A 0.84 ERA. Danny Herron watches as Kennedy takes over on the mound. On the ground, Chavez can't find a handle, throws from his knees and got him at first. What a play by Chavez, who's had a hard time in this series on balls to his left.
Well, it was a great play by Swisher, the first baseman. You know, Chavez actually looked stiff at third base. And here you see a really, really nice play by Swisher. That ball there could have just gone over by the tarp. Detroit would have really had something going here.
He has had his troubles going to his left this whole postseason.
Now Gomez, they're going to leave him in to hit. There's a check swing on his way to third, and what an aggressive play there by Carlos Guillen.
Well, it's good aggressive base running there by Carlos. You can see that this ball's in the dirt, bounces away from the catcher Kendall, and Guillen gets a great jump. Oakland's got to play their infield in. But the left-hand pitcher now, if Gomez can bunt, you could see the possibility of a squeeze here now.
Everything based on that good secondary lead by Carlos Guillen.
Tigers with a chance to take their first lead of the game. And again, a pitch in the dirt that Kendall has to knock down. Well, you cannot say enough about this base running by Guillen. This is how you win championships.
Take every inch of opportunity presented to you. Again, he saw Kendall go to his knees. We saw Polanco do it before.
Two and 0. Taken inside, 3 balls and no strikes. And Jason Kendall has been so busy today. 3 wild pitches charged to Oakland hurlers. The A's have made an error in the field. And now the Tigers trying to capitalize here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Make or break pitch coming up.
And also, Tommy, an adjustment time for Jason Kendall. He went from Danny Herron, who's sinking that split finger, spinning that curveball, a righty and power pitcher, now to a lefty in Joe Kennedy.
Pretty good pitch right there. I'm not sure Gomez agrees with Chuck Merriweather.
Right here, you have to be able to tell yourself, I want to swing the bat.
Boy, that pitch was a little down in the zone. Merriweather gave him a really good pitcher's pitch.
Struck him out after coming back from 3 balls and no strikes.
Aaron takes a look at this. Repeating pitches, location very similar. Now this one ran in on him instead of running away and down.
Well, that was ball 4 again. I guess when the umpire expands the strike zone a little bit, makes that hitter chase a questionable strike.
Well, now I'm sure this conversation, Lou, has something to do with, hey, Brandon Inge is a very dangerous guy. You have Santiago in the on-deck circle who doesn't play a lot. Perhaps we put Inge on and face Santiago.
Well, that's a good possibility here. Although Santiago is a switch hitter, but he is a little better from the left side.
Let's check in quickly with Chris Myers.
Yeah, Tom, the temperature has dropped. It is just about as cold as it was last night without the threat of snow or rain. But the fans, Brandon Inge saying before the game, these are the same fans that were here in 2003 when we weren't winning. They're as loud as they've ever been, and they deserve a winner here today.
Well, they're going to pitch, it appears, to Brandon Inge at first pitch in the dirt. And again, Kendall having to do whatever it takes to keep it in front of him. That go-ahead run is standing 90 feet away.
This might be a situation where you want to dress it up maybe and be able to not throw anything very close to the home plate area.
Yeah, he's pitching very, very carefully to Inge here. He's got the open base at first base. Got Santiago on the on-deck circle. I think that if he throws ball 3 here, they'll just give him the intentional pass.
2-0 on Brandon Inge. 3-0.
You usually don't like to see your 8th hitter walked, but Inge is not your normal 8th hitter. And there's the intentional pass coming now.
Well, how about those numbers? That is certainly a complete reverse of what you generally expect from a left-hander coming out of your bullpen. Left-handed batters have had unbelievable success against Kennedy, but he has worn out the right-handed hitters.
He's got that nice movement with his fastball down and away. He's got a good curveball that he can backdoor. He's got a little changeup that he's come up with that's gotten right-hand hitters out.
A guy that also, Tommy, for most of his career has been a starting pitcher.
Now a big spot for Ramon Santiago. Runners on the corners, 2 away in a 3-3 game, last to the 6th inning. 0-1.
Now you have to be even more aggressive against Santiago.
Anderson in the on-deck circle rooting for his teammate Santiago. Only 5 of 24 against left-handed pitching all year. Got a pretty good rip right there.
Here's a fastball. Actually, it's right down the middle of the plate. And you're right. Santiago had a nice aggressive swing. He just fouled it off.
1-1 pitch. Off the outside edge, 2-1. Santiago today has tried to bunt his way on, was thrown out by the pitcher Herron. And then he bounced out to the second baseman, but it advanced Brandon Inge from second to third in the 5th.
You got Joe Kennedy right here really bearing down. Right now it's all on his shoulders. He's been more aggressive in the corners, down the middle, really showing that he really wants this out right here.
The 2-2 pitch. Fouled away. We'll do it again. D in a third, Inge at first, and another foul ball. Pretty good battle here.
Have a good idea as to what it takes to protect home plate. Here it is right here. Good pitcher's pitch, but a spoiler.
From there, and you see that good moving fastball from Kennedy. Good tailing action from the hitter.
Off the glove of Kendall on a pitch up in a strike zone. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 7 pitches so far in this at bat between Kennedy and Santiago. And now the crowd here at Comerica Park on his 3-2 pitch, coming to their feet. Tigers looking for their first lead of the game.
Now the question is, do we want Swisher holding the guy at first base? No reason to, right?
No reason to. You got to protect that hole over there the best way you can.
Fly ball into left field is playable for Jay Payton. And that will end the inning. Ordonez ties the game with a leadoff home run. We're back after a break from your local Fox station. Game 7 hits for the Tigers. Jeremy Bonderman still on the mound. He'll be facing Scudero, Jimenez, and Kendall. And there is activity in the Detroit bullpen at the first sign of trouble, should there be any, for Bonderman. Ball 1 high.
Tommy, there's not a better time for that bottom half of this lineup for the Oakland A's to do something.
Jamie Walker, Jason Greeley getting loose. Greeley the right-hander, Walker the southpaw. 1-1.
Well, Scudero has struggled this whole series with the bat.
0 for 2 today is Scudero, just 1 of 13 in this league championship series after collecting 4 doubles and 6 RBIs in the 3-game sweep of Minnesota.
Well, when you talk about Bailey, this is part of the reason. He's already thinking one way. pull the ball, not his strength.
Really good slider, too, by Bonderman.
Came back with the same pitch again, but that one caught the dirt. Okay, Bonderman's been pretty solid here today. There were a couple of points in time where things almost got away from him. In that first inning, he allowed a couple of runs, a walk, a couple of base hits, got a ground ball to get out of the inning, allowed the home run to Peyton. On the ground in the hole, Santiago, silky smooth, one away. Tonight's WebMD injury report zeroes in on Mark Ellis. A broken right index finger. And what a big injury that's turned out to be for the A's. To get an inside look at injuries affecting your team, go to WebMD.com and search sports injury.
Tommy, we can talk about missing Ellis's defense, but he does have a presence when he's in that lineup, in the bottom of that lineup, too.
Hey, you talk to people who've seen the A's, and I know, Jose, in your work with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, you see the A's frequently. Ellis is a better offensive player than he gets credit for.
Give him a lot of credit. He can hit 250, but he'll get the opportunity to drive in a big run, 7th or 8th inning. He gets the job done.
And he's got a little pop. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark occasionally.
He can turn on anybody's fastball.
And there to Jimenez, and of course D'Angelo is a man trying to replace Mark Ellis. He got hurt in his final at bat of that division series against Joe Nathan. Beautiful breaking ball there from Bonderman.
Getting stronger also with location. How about this for location? Back door.
Strike 3 called, a fastball in the inside corner, and Jimenez can't believe it. We remind you tomorrow Fox NFL Sunday returns. It'll be the Eagles and the Saints from New Orleans or other regional action. It all begins this week with America's #1 pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
McNabb, Bush, like it.
Indeed. Jimenez still disagrees with that call.
Too close to take, D'Angelo. You got to be able to protect home plate.
Now Kendall hitless in 3 at bats. Fastball in there, strike 96.
And here you see a fastball right at the knees. Good call by the umpire Merriweather. I don't think Jimenez has much to complain about.
His hands were close enough to the ball that he could make contact with that pitch. Absolutely.
Boy, everything working now for Bonderman. Good life on the fastball, good bite on the slider. 95, the pitch count for Bonderman.
And here it is, Tommy. Maybe the Kenny Rogers effect has taken effect right now.
And the things that Leland talked about, he says this young man is a bulldog on the mound. He's showing it.
Another slider grounded foul by Kendall.
I mean, here we are in the 7th inning. He's still throwing the ball 95, 96 miles an hour.
Bonderman was very upset when the Oakland Athletics, after making him their #1 pick in 2001, traded him away. And he said, I will make the Athletics pay one day for making that deal. Well, October the 14th, 2006 may very well be that day.
The way things started for him today, I'll tell you. 2 runs right away in the first inning. It looked like he was going to really be figured out by more hitters from the A's, but he actually just getting stronger and better. We haven't seen that many comfortable swings lately, though.
We sure haven't.
Slider off the outside corner.
Well, I think Kendall has to protect the outside part of the plate. He's been called out twice.
Off the body of Bonderman and into right field. That'll be a base hit for Kendall. We'll have to see if Bonderman's okay. Not sure where it got him.
I'll tell you, in this cool weather, that's going to hurt even more.
Well, this ball's hit right back up the middle. Hits him right off his foot. He goes, ow. Ouch. That hurts in cold weather.
Well, his day is over. Jim Leland has come out, giving the signal for the left-hander Walker to face the left-handed batting Kotsay. Bonderman, a huge round of ovation. He has been big time again in the postseason for the Tigers.
I'm the same as you. I got a few mutual funds.
3-3 game, top half of the 7th inning. Game 4 of this American League Championship Series. Tiger general manager and president Dave Dombrowski hoping to celebrate tonight a trip to the World Series. It would be the second time Dombrowski and Jim Leland would celebrate together as general manager and manager. They did so with the Marlins. Jamie Walker, the left-hander, takes over for Leland out of his bullpen to face Mark Kotsay. And over at first, Kendall with 2 out here in the 7th inning.
And right away, Kendall has to be very careful with this tricky move by this lefty, Jamie Walker. Same adjustment goes to the hitter. Be able to stay inside the ball. Lefty against lefty here for Kotsay.
Breaking ball, the outside corner. They appeal. And no appeal. They're still waiting for the call by the third base umpire. And finally, Jerry Crawford says no. Kotsay hitless in 6 at-bats in his career against Walker. But Kotsay not bad against left-handed pitching, a .265 hitter.
Right now, Tommy, he's making a very valiant effort, Kotsay, in staying with that shoulder close out front just to be able to reach that sweeping slider away.
Well, maybe that lefty-lefty advantage goes away on his 2-0 pitch. Let's see. Threw him a fastball, and he takes it right down the middle.
The Walker's had really nice success against left-handed hitting. I can see where he's tough. He comes over from the first base side and hides the ball pretty well.
Two and one to count on Kotsay. Came back with a breaking ball and it misses away. Threw him a fastball, 2-0. Comes back with a breaking ball, 2-1. Are you guessing fastball, 3-1?
Well, he's going to get the fastball here. There's no question with Bradley hitting behind him. But his bread and butter pitch is his slider.
Hammered down the right field line, and it is foul. Boy, Kotsay jumping all over that pitch.
Now 3-2. He might not get the fastball, but I think he'll get another one just out over the plate a little bit. Just foul.
Little English.
Look at the body language here. Whoa.
Well, it makes you wonder how he took that 2-0 fastball right down the gut. Let's see, 3-2. Breaking ball, and it swung on and fouled back out of play. Of course, perhaps Kotsay's thinking, you know, he hadn't thrown a strike yet in the at-bat, falling behind 2-0. We talked about Bonderman. In the opening inning, gave up 2 runs, 2 hits. The rest of the way, 1 run. That was a solo home run by Payton. Another dynamite outing by a Detroit starting pitcher. That's been the story of this entire postseason.
He just became a strike machine, Tommy. Absolutely.
3-2 pitch. Breaking ball struck him out. The inning is over. Top of the order coming up for the Tigers. Granderson, Monroe, Polanco. And why not? Granderson against Kennedy. Curtis show and bunt, takes a strike, 1-1. Granderson, 1 of 2, has drawn a walk, struck out, and had an RBI double, getting the Tigers on the board after they fell behind in this game 3-0. They got 2 in the 5th and a home run by Ordonez in the 6th to tie it. still 1-2.
This Granderson has got better and better as postseason gone on. Playing with a lot of confidence.
Fernando Rodney getting loose down in the bullpen. Fly ball into left field. Room out there for Payton. One away.
Mark Kotze's at bat. Let's take a look at Jamie Walker and how he was able to neutralize with a fastball. You see the two fingers right over the seam, four-seam fastball. Now his out pitch. Now look at the thumb. That's a big difference with a spinning slider and something you don't see very often against the lefty. Strikeout pitch with the changeup. That's confidence. And a high changeup too.
When you look at Kotze, he looks back at the pitcher and he says, how could you have thrown me that pitch?
Now Monroe, who struck out swinging in the first, struck out looking in the third, and an RBI double into left field in the fifth. And of course, Monroe has 3 home runs during this postseason as Kiko Calero is getting loose now in the Oakland bullpen.
And at one time during the season, Monroe had more home runs from the 7th inning on than any other player in the American League.
They wound up with 28 home runs overall this year. A 3-0 count.
I thought Leland might just turn them loose there, 3-0.
Kennedy very aware of that. He didn't just pipe one. He made sure it had some good location inside.
Well, he's looking to turn on something here at 3-1. And he does down the left field line. Foul.
Well, just a good aggressive swing by Monroe. Gets out in front of a fastball and rips it. Just foul.
He gets a lot of topspin. We saw that on the diving attempt by Payton in left field in the 5th inning.
Ball really hooked away from the outfielder.
Payoff pitch. He takes just under the knees, ball 4. Go ahead, run aboard with 1 out here in the 7th inning. Take a look at our Travelers in sync box score for the Tigers. 7 base hits. Ordonez, the home run leading off the 6th inning, which tied this game at 3. RBI doubles by Granderson and Monroe brought in their first 2 runs. Now Polanco. All right, Lou Piniella, you know, we talked about it earlier, and you thought they'd let Polanco swing the bat. That was with nobody out. Do you start the runner here with 1 out?
I think Leland will let Polanco just hit. Kennedy with the left-handed move to first base. The least thing that you want here now is to have somebody picked off trying to get a jump on a hit and run play.
It will kill momentum immediately.
0-2 on Polanco. And it's into center field. This will fall a hit. Kotze over to cut it off. So the go-ahead run now stands in scoring position. Polanco his 2nd hit in 4 at-bats. And Ordonez coming up.
Nice 2-strike approach again by Placido Polanco. This pitch got more of the play that Kennedy wanted to, but the one thing that makes Polanco efficient, nice short to the ball right through the strike zone.
Well, this is a tough situation for Maka. You got your 4th hitter, Ordonez, coming up, the left-hander out there, the right-hander warming up, and then you got Guillen on deck that swings the bat better from the left side. Well, he's making his move and bringing in the right-hander.
So it will be Calero against Ordonez with 2 on and 1 out when we return.
Beginning Monday, October 23rd, prime time.
Right-hander Kiko Calero. He's been very sharp in this postseason and has done an outstanding job the last 2 years out of the Oakland bullpen.
Yes, he has. He'll give you a lot of innings, about 80% sliders. Everybody knows it, but it's a very tight slider. He'll change speeds on it, and more than anything, he knows how to keep it down.
Ordonez in his career is 0 for 3 against Calero. Again, a reminder coming up next from the new Busch Stadium, Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Luis Gonzalez standing by. It'll be Steve Trachtel against Jeff Suppan. Ordonez with a chance to give Detroit the lead. Ball 1 low and away. Ordonez tied the game just 1 inning ago with a missile down the left field line that cleared the wall.
He knows that if he gets a fastball, it's because he's worked a lot of pitches. He knows the slider is coming.
And there it is, a strike. This was Ordonez's last at bat.
Never a doubt.
He's hoping that Calero can hang one of those sliders. Down and away, 2 balls and a strike on Maglio Ordonez.
Sometimes a pitcher has better command with a breaking ball than with a fastball. And Calero looks like that type of pitcher to me.
2-1 delivery. Slider down and away. 3 balls and a strike. And does Calero now have to come with a fastball? "12 straight losing seasons in Detroit. And here they are, perhaps a hit away from a trip to the World Series."
Three and one breaking ball. Good one, too.
And it's Calero, why not?
That was basically a get me over breaking ball. And Ordonez was taken. I don't think they'll send the runners here, Tommy. I think they'll hold up. Give Guillen a chance if Ordonez doesn't get him in.
The chance for a swing and miss right here. Throw him out just increases dramatically.
Houston Street, the Oakland closer, getting loose in the bullpen. 3-2 on Ordonez. Here it comes. Ball 4. And they are loaded for Guillen, the best Detroit hitter in their lineup.
Well, Kenny Maka, the Oakland manager's got his closer warmed up. You might as well get him in the ball game.
Well, you said it. He must have heard you. Perhaps a season on the line for the A's when we come back. Busch Stadium. But first things first, the Tigers have them loaded in a 3-3 game, last of the 7th inning. And now on the pitch, the Oakland closer, Houston Street. He'll face Carlos Guillen, who has only seen him 1 at bat, and Street got him out.
Well, Street's job here is to keep that ball down and get Guillen to hit it on the ground and turn a double play and get out of this inning.
It's not that many times that you will see a closer in this type of situation, but this is not just any game.
Guillen nearly a .400 batter this season with the bases loaded. And he's down a strike. A 95 first pitch fastball from Houston Street.
Message is clear. I want the best available arm, a fresh arm out of that bullpen, a guy that I know is going to hold it down to give my offense an opportunity to get a couple runs and win this ball game. That's the message from Ken Maka right now.
We have only seen Street for 1 inning in this league championship series, and the first batter he faced hit a home run against him. That was Curtis Granderson. "22 years ago today, the Detroit Tigers won the World Series in 5 games over San Diego." On the ground, this could be 2. Chavez, the throw, in time. And Street gets the double play, and we march on to the 8th inning, tied at 3. Joel Zamaya comes into the game. Rather than Rodney now, it's Jason Greeley.
Well, Rodney wouldn't have been in the game if Detroit had the lead. With a tie, you got Greeley in the game.
Swing and a miss. To Milton Bradley. Bradley a run-scoring double in the opening inning. And then hurt his leg, but he has remained in the game the rest of the way. He scored in that first, had a base hit in the left center field in the third that under normal circumstances would have been a 2-base hit for Bradley, but was limping about halfway up the line. He flied to right in the 5th. Two and one.
Well, a nice little cut fastball in on the hitter's hands. And Bradley didn't bite.
Two and one to Milton Bradley, and a base hit in the left field. 9 hits in this LCS for Bradley. How about the double play which ended the 7th inning?
Well, we talked about keeping the ball down and trying to get a double play. You see the catcher, Kendall, right on the outside corner. Great play by the third base Chavez. That's a tough play there. Throws a perfect strike to first base. That's what the closer was in the ball game for. Give the manager Maka credit for getting him in there. A little surprised, Bradley not running all that well, that Oakland not using a pinch hitter here. And again, now you've got big Frank Thomas up there. He hasn't done much this series. Listen, this is his time of the ball game.
Up and away, 2-0.
One thing Frank Thomas knew, the opportunity was going to present itself once again. Here it is. All you need is connect on one pitch, one big swing from a big hurt to make a huge difference.
Thomas 0 for 2 in the game today, has drawn a walk. He is 0 for 12 in this league championship series. He takes Lowe 3-0 and Rodriguez to the mound.
It was like, I almost want to see him let it fly. Just let it fly, man. Swing as hard as you can, see what happens.
I don't think he'll be swinging here 3-0, but on that 3-1 pitch, I couldn't agree with you more, Jose. And what a big difference that double play makes. You've got Gurley on the mound instead of Rodney. You get ahead in the ball game, your setup guy's in the ball game.
3-0 to Thomas, and he does take a strike right down the middle. But now Frank Thomas. The left foot in, the right foot in, a 3-1 count, looking for his first hit of this league championship series. Instead, it's a double play ball, and Thomas still hitless in the series.
To that, the fact that you have a very limited runner at first base, you can't put him on the run right here. But once again, Greeley, talking about making pitches, the previous inning makes a pitch on Frank Thomas, positioned perfectly. They know they have time, set it up, double play.
Well, now Jim Leland making his way to the mound as the left-hander Eric Chavez comes to the plate.
Well, that was just a good pitch for Frank Thomas to turn on. He was just late on the pitch.
No sign given yet by Jim Leland. He's going to stay with Greeley. He had the left-hander Ledesma getting ready down in their bullpen, but you know, maybe he feels like we'll see what happens with Chavez here. But you have a right-handed batting Peyton on deck rather than going to the lefty, and then maybe having to bring somebody in you haven't used the whole series against Peyton next.
You can use your whole bullpen in a hurry using too many pitchers here. The message from Leland was clear. Look, Chavez is dangerous. He can hit you out of the ballpark. Stay away from him. And don't give in.
Chavez today 1 for 3 and an RBI double in the first inning. Minor and Ledesma getting loose. Ledesma's ready. 2-0.
I think, Tommy, we see more of a habit created by Jim Leyland himself going out there to send these messages clearly face to face. Hey, this is what I want from you right now. Let's get it done. So far, it's worked every time.
Worked very well.
3-0. Pitch walk to Chavez, so it will be the right-hander Greeley now to face Jay Payton. First it was against the right-hander Jeremy Bonderman that Payton made major damage with on a hanging breaking ball back in the fourth inning. That is Payton's only hit in 3 at-bats today. First pitch fastball up and away.
Boy, this lack of speed has really handicapped Oakland in this series. They're not getting the big hits, and they're not making things happen. And that's one of the reasons that Detroit pitching is dominated.
Even looking at the lead taken by Eric Chavez at first base, very conservative lead.
I mean, you have to admire everything the Oakland Athletics have been able to do through this run of Sandy Alderson. Of course, he had the big boppers back in the Tony La Russa era. But here, Billy Beane more recently. But at the end of the day, their style of play, their lack of speed, their failure to play small ball, the ability to play small ball, another season, will that lack of execution or even having that in your hip pocket to pull out from time to time, will it cost him in the postseason?
That now is shown throughout the first 7 innings of this ballgame, 7 2/3.
Payton. Back-to-back walks by Greeley. And now Swisher will come to the plate. And we'll see what Jim Leyland elects to do here. Does he bring on Ledesma? He's looking over the stats. Does he bring on Ledesma to turn around Swisher? Or does he leave in Greeley?
I think he'll make Swisher hit from the right side, meaning that he'll have the left-hander in the ballgame.
He's thinking about it.
Well, he's going to let him pitch. He's got his foot on the top step, but he's going to let him stay in the ballgame.
Perhaps he's seen good stuff from Greeley so far. Gives him confidence in this situation.
Well, he's thrown 9 straight balls. Struggling with his command. He was 3-1 on Big Frank Howard, or Thomas.
Swisher much more power from the left side, a much higher batting average from the right side, and Greeley needing a compass to find the strike zone. He has thrown 10 consecutive pitches that were not strikes. "27 of Swisher's 35 home runs came as a left-handed batter."
Boy, he hasn't even come close. You know, you got Scudero hitting in the 8th hole. I wonder if Maka will turn Swisher lose 3-0.
I wouldn't do it.
3-0 pitch. 12 straight balls thrown by Greeley. And they are loaded. Now does Jim Leyland stay with this right-hander to face Scudero or bring in the reliever Minor from the bullpen, maybe to just throw a strike.
Bring in anybody you can here. You need somebody to throw strikes.
And I think he is called for the left-hander Ledesma. Bases loaded in the 8th for Oakland. We're tied at 3. But the Tigers storm back with a pair in the 5th inning. A home run by Ordonez to tie it in the 6th. In the bottom of the 7th inning, the Tigers had the bases loaded. Houston Street got a ground ball double play by Guillen, and you saw a moment ago a conversation taking place as Wilfredo Ledesma takes over on the mound to face the man who was listening during that conversation, Marco Scudero.
Showing some leadership right there. Milton Bradley very confident himself. He's got 3 hits. Also pass it on.
Yeah, swinging a good pitch here. Encouraging. Scudero.
Bases loaded, and it's ball 1 high. Scudero a much better hitter against right-handed pitching than he is against left-handers.
And Ledesma's another young pitcher. This is a tough situation for a young pitcher to come into a ball game with the bases loaded. No room for error.
Scudero 1 for 5 in his career against Ledesma, and there's a strike finally after 13 balls consecutively.
I think the crowd likes that. Scudero's approach, his strength, middle the other way. They have called him Mr. Clutch in Oakland.
Well, he had the 6 RBIs during the division series. Does not have an RBI in the LCS. In the air. Is this playable for Rodriguez? Yes. The Tigers had a chance with the bases loaded in the 7th. Failed. The A's do the same in the 8th. In the bottom of the 6th, a leadoff home run by Ordonez to tie the game at 3. In the bottom of the 7th, the Tigers with the bases loaded. Houston Street came on to get a double play ball to end that inning. In the top of the 8th inning, after 2 were out and nobody on, 3 straight walks by Greeley. Wilfredo Ledesma came on to get the final out. And here we are in the bottom of the 8th, tied at 3. 2-0 on Ivan Rodriguez.
And the key, Tommy, as you mentioned, the 3 walks. When you walk 3 guys in an inning so far up in the ballgame and you get out of it, something's going right.
Well, 3 walks and a base hit. 4 base runners in 1 inning, and you don't get a run out of it.
Two and 0 to Rodriguez. Swings and fouls it out of play. It's been a very quiet series for Ivan Rodriguez. 0 for 3 today. 2 of 15 with 1 solo home run. That's his only RBI of this LCS.
Somebody from going to first base, run that fastball right in there.
Right on the outside corner. Might have missed just very, very little, but tough pitch to take.
3-2 on Pudge Rodriguez. Did he go around the appeal? Yes, sir, says Gary Cederstrom. And Pudge knew it.
Got a good view of the swing, all created by the deception, but Ivan Rodriguez, as a catcher, he knows. Back across the plane, and he's out of there. 1-2.
Yeah, he tries to hold up, but he just can't do it. He got upset at himself. He knew it's ball 4.
Big hack on the first pitch by Alexis Gomez. He was trying to make it a 4-3 game with that swing.
How much is Jim Leland willing here, Tommy, to have Gomez run into another one.
Well, Gomez today, 1 hit in 3 at-bats. Got a single back in the 2nd inning. Off the corner, 1-1. Let's go back to that final out a moment ago in the Oakland top half of the 8th.
Just a good pitch. Just the pitcher, Ledesma, overpowered Scudero.
1-2.
It was nothing fancy. It was just a power fastball. Hit it. And shortstop just didn't get it done.
Right in the zone where it looks good to the hitter, but you put a little extra zip on it, just a couple miles an hour more, and you can't catch up with it.
Well, Ledesma's got good hop on his fastball and good velocity, no question.
1-2 to Gomez. He's gone swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Houston Street.
We spent the first part of the game talking about Herron and his split finger. Look at this pitch and the movement on that. Boy, trying to get those hitters to spread the zone. That's the best defense right now for Houston Street.
Really good biting action down.
Now Brandon Inge in their strike. Street is very stingy with a home run ball. Now granted, he gave up a home run to the first batter he faced in this LCS, but he only allowed 4 of them in better than 70 innings during the regular season. Delivery. Broken back by Street. But the shortstop Scudero is there. Close play, but the inning is over. The Oakland closer nails him down 1-2-3. We will go into the 9th in a 3-3 game. A good matchup for Ken Maka. Kelty wears out left-handed pitching. He's a switch hitter, but batting right-handed. A .325 batter with 7 of his 8 home runs. And he pops it up. Ian battling this one. But a shortstop by trade stays with it, playing first tonight again for the injured Sean Casey. This more to see moment presented by Sharp Aquos Liquid Crystal Television. The double play in a 3-3 game off the bat of Ian against Houston Street to end the 7th inning. Remember, the Tigers in their bullpen still have their 2 hammers down there in Fernando Rodney and their closer Todd Jones. Still unsure about Joel Zamaya. Zamaya has not pitched since game 1 with tendinitis in his right wrist, his right forearm. And Jim Leland told us before the game he had not seen Zamaya yet. He was significantly better yesterday, although he said he was not going to pitch him yesterday and wasn't sure about today.
If I were the catcher, Kendall, I would be taken here.
He does a strike.
Well, right now, Houston Street has given this offense every opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm your best offense right now by shutting the Tigers down. We saw it. Big plays, big outs, keeping the ball down. And Lou, we can look at contagious swings and at-bats and everything, but sometimes that guy on the mound is sending the clearest message.
Exactly. Street's giving this Oakland offense a chance.
And that
get
ball
right back in it.
Drilled into left center field. Over to cut it off is Monroe. And that'll be a 1-out single for Jason Kendall, representing the go-ahead run here in the 9th.
This will give Oakland a lift right here. Pitch right over the plate. Doesn't try to go deep or anything. Stays within his game. And has some people aboard. It's exactly what Oakland needs right now. Follow some good at-bats, just as they did in that first inning.
lefty against lefty. We brought up earlier, Kotsay against left-handed pitching, a 265 battery, hangs in there pretty well. Kendall led the Athletics in stolen bases with a grand total of 11. Strike one.
Big difference here, Tommy, is the fact that Jamie Walker, the lefty that he faced in the 7th inning, more of a spotter, sweeping curveball, you know, doesn't throw as hard, but Ledesma presents a different challenge, one that he has to be very careful with the strike zone, be able to not spread it. Fastball up and away to even the count on Kotsay at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Ledesma is the type of pitcher that's not going to fool you very much. He's going to come right after you.
Pretty good cut on that 95-mile-per-hour fastball there from Kotsay. I think he'd like to have that one back again.
Right on that pitch once again, too much of the plate.
That ball was centered perfectly to hit. Yeah, Ledesma should pay more attention to the hitter here.
Perhaps more attention to the numbers, what they say about stealing bases for the A's.
1-2 on Mark Kotsay. Threw him a breaking ball that stayed up in a strike zone, and Kotsay slaps it the other way foul. Well, the Oakland Athletics losing the first 2 games at home. Were shut out on 2 base hits by Rogers, Rodney, and Jones here in Game 3. They jumped out to the early 3-0 lead. That's gotten away from them. But they're trying to extend this series to a 5th game here tomorrow night. And it's popped up at Monroe in left field. 2 away.
Well, Bradley coming up has been Oakland's best hitter in his league championship series. Let's see if he can get Big Frank back up there. Give him one more opportunity.
And the biggest change right now for Milton Bradley is he will come up to hit from the right side. He has had a nice approach all night going the other way, up the middle the other way when he's been hitting from the left side.
Bradley a better batting average against left-handed pitching when batting from this right side. And you see monster numbers for Bradley against Ledesma. 4 hits and 6 at-bats with 2 home runs.
Well, he took him deep the other day in Oakland. I mean, a towering fly ball over the left center field wall.
And he knew it.
That was in the 7th inning of Game 2. Fastball up and away. I mean, you mentioned it, Lou, but I mean, Bradley has not only been their best hitter, he has been by far their best clutch hitter. He has been the money player so far in this series, if there is such a thing when you're down 3-0. But he has been the right guy at the right spot. Not this time. Fly ball into right field. Ordonez with room, and that will end the inning. Anderson due up second. He homered off Street already in this series. So far, came on to get the double play with the bases loaded by Guillen in the 7th inning. Then at a 1-2-3-8, Mark Kiger takes over at second. Marcus Timms the batter. Swing and a miss. We have not seen Timms since a Game 1 start in this series, when he went 0 for 4, scored a run at 26 home runs during the regular season. off the end of the bat. Straight away center field, easy for Kotsay, one away. Well, here comes Granderson. Back in game 2 in the 9th inning with 1 out and nobody on. Granderson, a home run off Houston Street. And that extended the Tiger lead to 3. That was a 3rd home run this postseason for Curtis Granderson. Even the Detroit closer Todd Jones donning the rally cap. No one sitting down inside Comerica Park. The Tigers had 7 walk-off wins this season, 3 game-ending home runs. Out on a play, 1-1. Now Street, you saw the note there, 11 times more than an inning. He's faced a total of 5 batters so far to get 6 out. 3 times this year he pitched 2 or more innings. His career high came back in 05, 3 1/3 out of the bullpen against the White Sox.
And Tommy, just eliminating that first hitter this inning takes away a lot of the options that Jim Leyland had coming into this inning right now. Obviously, he will be managing differently in this situation that he would have been the 5th inning. Reason is obvious. I think he might want to see that one again.
These Detroit Tigers lost a total of 300 games over the last 3 years. Over 400 games in the last 4 years. 1-2 to Granderson. Taken down and in. It's been 18 seasons since the Tigers last appeared in the postseason. That was 1987. They won 95 games this year, but got in as the wild card after sporting the best record in either league most of the season. But then they won just 19 of their final 51 games and had to beat the Yankees in the opening round. Now a win away from the World Series. Hit hard into right center field. On the run is Bradley, and he runs it down. Nice play by Milton Bradley, playing on a bad right quad.
Injury that happened earlier in the ballgame, but here's a swing. Again, solid contact. Well played. I got to give a lot of credit to the A's and their bench and positioning players, but Milton Bradley, bad quad and everything, covering a lot of ground. Tip my hat.
And with Granderson's speed, if that ball gets by Bradley, it's off to the races for a 3-bagger.
David Dombrowski, the general manager, hoping for a hit. There's strike 1 to Monroe. 1 for 3, an RBI double in the 5th. He walked in the 7th.
Well, Detroit's got Monroe up there. He can finish it with 1 swing of the bat.
He has 3 home runs in this postseason, 1 in this league championship series. Base hit left center field. The winning run aboard here in the bottom of the 9th. Now Polanco, 2 more hits today. Has 8 hits and 16 at bats in this LCS. Into right center field. Bradley trying to cut it off. He will. And Granderson not going to take a chance of committing that final out at third base. Slams on the brakes.
Well, I'll tell you this. If this game ended today, Polanco's my MVP in this series.
He continues to do it all. keeping it quite simple. He's hitting in the third spot, but he does not change his approach whether hitting first, second, third, 8th, or 9th.
Stays well within himself. Really a good professional player.
Now Maglio Ordonez. He tied the game with a home run to left field in the 6th. And now Jason Kendall will come visit the mound. Dave Dombrowski, the president, getting one final stretch in, perhaps looking for divine intervention by that pose. Mike Ilitch, the owner.
Well, here's where your Oakland outfield has got to cheat just a little bit. They have got to give themselves an opportunity to throw Monroe out at home plate in case of a base hit. And Payton, where he's at right now in left field, I don't think he has that chance.
Looks very deep out there.
So here we go. Winning run at second base. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ordonez looks at ball one inside.
Seemed to me right there, Tommy, he was looking for one pitch, breaking ball away somewhere.
Ordonez 0 for 2 in his career against Houston Street. In the air, left field! The Tigers march to the World Series! Celebrated 22 years ago today as World Series champions. And October the 14th, 2006, the Detroit Tigers are American League champions. Ordonez, a 3-run home run to win the pennant.
His strength, stay back, right through the zone extension, and let it fly and take a look at it.
No doubt about it. From the crack of the bat, this ball game was over, and what clutch hitting.
Not exactly the location that Houston Street wanted. He wanted to run that fastball in more on the hands. Not enough.
And Houston knew it when he let it go. As soon as it left the bat, and look at Leland, look at the Tigers. What a great scene here at Comerica Park in Detroit. What a wonderful, wonderful story. The Detroit Tigers, American League champions. Who would have thought, Tom Brenneman, starting the season, that we would be here seeing this in this wonderful city of Detroit.
David Dombrowski celebrating. He was a man that brought Jim Leland back to the Tiger family. Leland graduating from Perrysburg, Ohio High School in 1963, signed with the Tigers as a good field and no-hit catcher. Spent 18 years wearing their uniform as a minor league player, as a minor league manager. How sweet must this be for Jim Leland? Let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
All right, Tommy, the noise deafening here with Maglio Ordonez. I think you hugged everybody in the ballpark.
Thank you. It was really exciting.
Talk about the pitch, what you were thinking. Obviously, you delivered.
He was a fastball, and I pulled it, and I hit it good, and I hit it out of the park. I'm really excited.
I know you should be. You just asked for a glass of water. Can we get some water for Maglio Ordonez here? And I just want to ask you about, there is joy in Mudville because baseball fans everywhere have hope for their teams after the turnaround. What's been the magic for this Tiger team after 12 straight losing years? You're going to the World Series.
I think the key was our manager. He put every piece together. Our pitching, you have to give a lot of credit. Our hitters, our players, we play hard every day, and it's the reason we're here. And we play 100%, and it's the reason we're here. And it was an exciting year. You know, our pitching, our coaches, everybody deserves this.
And you're not done yet. What does it mean to the city of Detroit?
A lot. You know, they've been strong in the last 12 years. The last time I went to the World Series, 84, and this is for the city. They really deserve it. They support us all year round, and they deserve it.
All right, thanks. All right, you still have work to do. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maglio Ordonez, Tommy.
Well, Lou Piniella said it a moment ago. What an unbelievable sight this is. Just to be sitting here and watching Tiger players running around the outfield, donning their American League Championship shirts and hats. Jim Leyland, an extremely emotional man. There is no doubt we will see tears from him sometime later, if not shortly. I mean, all the subplots of stories, Kenny Rogers and all his postseason failures of years past to do what he did against the Yankees. And then again in Game 3 here yesterday. This is great stuff.
Well, this is a city that's been dying for a winner. And in comes Jim Leyland. This young, talented bunch, works them in spring training, tells them to believe, and here you see the culmination of all that hard work. What a great story.
Let's go back downstairs and again rejoin Chris Myers.
All right, Tom, with Brandon Edge on the field, this is quite a scene. You, one of the players, in fact, the only player left over active with Dave Dombrowski. You went through the losing 119 games in 2003. The crowd was there at the end of that losing season.
Yes,
you said they deserve a World Series.
Yes, they were. Yes, they do, and they're getting it right now. And apparently Dave did a good job when he brought in the people he did because it's working out well right now. You know, you got to get your hat off to a great competitive team, Oakland A's. They battle in the whole time, and, you know, we just were fortunate enough to take it tonight.
How about Maglio Ordonez struggling in the series, all of a sudden delivers big time?
Oh, you know what? That's why we pay him the big bucks, and he did a good job tonight. And, you know, I always tease him. I say, why are you swinging underwater, you know, and just joking with him. And tonight, he got out of that water, and he started bombing that ball. It's good to see from him.
He went from Aquaman to Hero Man, so you still have some work to do.
Yes, we do. This is what we wanted to accomplish right now, just to get to the World Series. And, you know, it's a great feeling, but, you know, we got to set our sights a little higher and, you know, win a championship.
All right, enjoy the moment.
Thank you.
All right, Brandon Edge. Tommy?
Brandon Edge was part of that team and lost 119 games 3 years ago. The only Tiger left over from that club. Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game, Maglio Ordonez. His team depended on him. You can log on to WorldSeries.com/Fox Sports and vote for your most dependable player of the postseason. Plus a chance to win Chevy's most dependable truck, the all-new Silverado. Hinge actually the only player left since Dave Dombrowski took over as president and GM of this franchise. Talked about tears from Jim Leyland. There you see him. Told us before the game, I wish I weren't so emotional. Chris Myers said there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating in Detroit. The trophy presentation when we come back.
You can't script a
as American League champions after the game-ending home run by Maglio Ordonez, who tied the game with a home run in the 6th inning. And after Houston Street retired the first two in the 9th, single by Monroe Polanco, the game winner by Ordonez. And Dave Dombrowski came here in 2001 after leading the Florida Marlins alongside Jim Leyland to the 97 World Series. Mike Ilitch, the owner, hired him. to run this operation. And here they are on their way to the World Series. Let's send it to the podium and join Chris Myers.
Dreams do come true in Detroit. One of the great turnaround stories in all of sports on the stage. Michael Ilitch, his wife Marion, owner of the Detroit Tigers. David Dombrowski, president, general manager, CEO, manager Jim Leyland, and presenting the American League trophy, honorary American League president Jackie Autry.
Thank you, Chris. It's really wonderful to be here and to present this to Jim Leyland and to Mike. Mike, I remember when you got this team, I endorsed your ownership, and I am so proud that your club is going to represent the American League in the World Series this year. On behalf of Commissioner Bud Selig, I'd like to present the William Harridge American League Championship Trophy to Jim Leyland and Mike Ilitch.
All right, Jim, if you could just say a few words. And you told us you're an emotional guy, and sometimes you even get embarrassed about that. This is no moment to be embarrassed. You should be very proud. Congratulations.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm just extremely happy for Mr. and Mrs. Ilitch. They've given not only so much to the Tigers, but so much to the community, the city of Detroit. And most importantly, to the fans that have been so patient for the last 13 years. This is yours.
Thank you. Michael Ilitch, you're a Detroit guy. I think people can appreciate everywhere somebody who comes from a city, buys a baseball team, watches them get to a World Series.
Yeah, this is a big thrill for my fans. Dave and Jim did the job for us. Give a big hand!
Congratulations. And David Dombrowski, president, CEO, general manager. That's a lot of titles, a lot of responsibility that some people doubted the losing years here. When you wavered, what kept it together for you?
A great organization, a lot of support, great people, just a tremendous, from top to bottom, from Mr. I to everybody in the organization, scouts, player development, fans, thank you very much.
All right, let me just, Jim, ask you, a guy, and you said it was important after you stepped away from managing, you thought you were burned out. You got the urge again. One of the reasons you wanted to come here, David Dombrowski, who you won with in Florida, but also this was the organization that gave you a chance when you were a player. It signed you to a contract as a catcher. You spent a lot of years here in the minor leagues working for this organization. Important for you to come back. Does it mean something special to take this organization to the World Series?
Well, one thing I knew for sure, being in the organization all those years, 18 consecutive years, and I never made it to the big leagues. It took me a hell of a long time to get here, I can tell you that. But I'm glad I finally made it.
You said you didn't want to be Casey Stengel. You wanted to be Yogi Berra, right? You wanted to play. Well, you've done a pretty good job managing, and you still have some work to do. I know you're anxious about that.
Well, everybody said that I fulfilled my dream to manage a major league team, and that's crazy. I wanted to be Yogi Berra, the player, not Casey Stengel, the manager. I can tell you that.
All right, congratulations, Michael Ilitch, David Dombrowski, Jim Leyland. Let's go back to Tom Brenneman.
Congratulations to the Detroit Tigers, for Lou Piniella, Jose Mota, Chris Myers, and our entire crew here in the American League Championship Series. I'm Tom Brenneman saying so long and thanks so much for joining us. We now send it to Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Luis Gonzalez for the National League Championship Series in St. Louis. Tom,
congratulations to you as well. There's Kwame Kilpatrick, the mayor of Detroit. Now back to you.
Well, the mayor is a tough act to follow. Nonetheless, Mario Impemba and Rod Allen are at the ballpark, and they join us now from the field. Mario, with the way this game started, it didn't look like this was going to be the Tigers' day, but as you and Rod saw so many times this season, there just seemed to be something magical going on with this team, and wasn't it fitting that the game ended with a Magler Ordonez walk-off home run?
You know, Mickey, it really has been unbelievable here to see what the Tigers are able to do here this afternoon. And I'll tell you what, Rod, it's amazing. We talked about the fact the Tigers needed some offense from their big guns. Maglio Ordonez is unbelievable.
He stepped up today in a big way. When you have a game like this and you have this kind of magnitude of playoff atmosphere, possible going to the World Series, they need their big guy to step up. And boy, what a huge, huge hit for Maglio.
All right, I want to talk about Jeremy Bonderman because obviously he didn't have his best stuff early. He gave up a couple of runs early. The Tigers had trouble against Dan Herron, but you've got to give Jeremy Bonderman some credit. He kept his team in this game.
He's a bulldog, Mario. You know that. One thing about Bonderman, he's going to bring that mid-90s fastball with him. He's going to have that slider. He had a shaky first inning. After that, he just got busy, and what an awesome effort by the entire team.
A scene like we haven't seen here in a long time, Mickey. It's unbelievable here at the ballpark. I'll send it back to you.
Mario, let me ask you a little bit more, if you can still hear me, about Jeremy Bonderman today. Did you find something strangely comforting in the fact that he fell behind early? Because we've seen him do that so many times this year, only to come back and pitch a very good game.
You know, I tell you what, Mick, I didn't find any comfort in that at all. I'll be honest with you. I wanted to see the Tigers, Rod, get ahead because that was their recipe for success. But again, you really have to give this guy some credit. He gutted out his outing today and gave his team a chance to win.
You know, you also have to give Kenny Rogers some credit. After that very first inning, it was a little shaky for Jeremy. You saw Kenny Rogers sitting next to him on the bench. He was consoling him. He told him to stick with his game plan, go after these athletics. Bonderman did that in innings 2 through 6. And at the end of the day, he kept his team in it. They got to win.
Well, and guys, pitching against the team that gave up on him with a chance to go to the World Series, I mean, he had to be a little amped up early on. Do you think that factored into his start, Mario?
I think so. I think that there's no doubt Jeremy Bonderman wanted to follow what everybody in this rotation had done because everybody up until Bonderman, including Jeremy in his last start, had pitched some outstanding baseball. But this was a clinching game, and there's no doubt about it. He wanted to do this in front of the fans, Rod. He wanted to pitch an outstanding ball game today.
Well, anytime you go to a place like he did early with Oakland, they didn't want him. Billy Beane documented that, but Bonderman stepped up in a huge way today, and Bonderman's just an outstanding talent. He's going to be a Tiger for a long, long time.
Mario, you talked about the A's taking their early lead, and you could almost see them starting to get some of their swagger back, but as soon as the Tigers scored and then tied the game, it was as if the A's said, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, I got that feeling as well. And the funny thing about this ball game early was when the Oakland Athletics had a couple of quick runs, they did seem to have some of that swagger, Rod, and you thought, this might not be the day. But again, you got to credit the Tigers' rotation and the bullpen for really stopping the bleeding and making this a close ball game.
Well, you got to love Jim Leland as well, what he has meant to this ball club all season long. These guys grinded out. When they came to the ballpark today, they weren't talking a whole lot. Jim Leland wasn't talking a whole lot. They had that lunch pail type mentality like they've had all season long. And boy, what a collective effort by everybody involved.
I know you guys have a celebratory clubhouse to get into. We'll let you do that. We'll hook back up with you shortly as the celebration continues here on the DSR Tigers Playoff Postgame Show. It is a party. The party is on. Yes, still work to be done, but we are going to enjoy this now as the Tigers head to the World Series for the first time since 1984.
Your Detroit Sports Report is brought to you by
Leland. He is at the podium now.
Spring training, and we had a lot of good players. We didn't have a good team, and today I can make the statement that we got a good team, and that's the thing I'm proudest of.
Great. Do you have a question? Okay. Yeah.
Jim, you said all season how much fun you had. Could you just contrast that with the only year you were in Colorado, and then what happened in those 6 years away from managing that kind of triggered that fire for you again?
Well, it's amazing that you asked that question because I think one of the most responsible things about that and my coming back, they're playing right now in New York, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals. I worked for them for 5 years. I was around that ball club in spring training. I went to spring training for a month. I helped out. I was around Tony La Russa. I enjoyed his veteran players, bought into the program. Walt Jocketty, I've never had a finer boss. And they kind of really inspired me to get back in, and I kept getting closer to it and closer to it. So I think the main reason I got back in is probably because of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay. Well, we weren't going to take questions. We appreciate everything. You've been terrific, and good luck in the World Series.
Well, thank you, Phyllis, for having everything organized. I appreciate it very much.
We're going to wait and see if we can get Placido Polanco in here to say a few things.
All right, Jim Leland, short and sweet. You got to feel great for him, but you also have to feel great For everybody that has put up with the Tigers and all their struggles over the years. It was a rough start for Jeremy Bonderman early on today. Milton Bradley deep to left center. Curtis Granderson can't get it. Mark Kotze is able to score 1-0 A's. Then Eric Chavez pulls one down the first baseline. That is fair. Touched by a fan to rule a ground rule double, but Bradley will score to make it 2-0. Dan Heron, meanwhile, looked unhittable early. Carlos Guillen frozen. Then Craig Monroe looks at a perfect third strike. Heron had 7 Ks in the game today. In the 4th inning, it gets worse for the Tigers. Jade Payton puts a charge into the Bonderman offering. That finds the seats in left. Payton's first home run of the postseason makes it 3-0 Oakland, but the Tigers rally in the 5th. Curtis Granderson reaches out and lifts one to right center. Brandon in scores, and Granderson keeps on motoring. He'll slide into second with a double. It's now 3-1. Then it's Monroe, this time swinging at the strike, drives it to left. Jay Payton dives for it, but it'll roll all the way to the wall. Granderson scores, and the Tigers are down just 1-3-2. And they waste no time tying it up in the 6th. Maglio Ordonez with his Samson-like locks deposits that into the seats, evens the score at 3. Tigers then threatening with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th, but Houston Street gets Carlos Guillen to bounce the 3rd for the inning-ending double play. Oh, what a great chance there. Top of the 8th, the A's in a similar position. Bases loaded, but Will Ledesma gets Marco Scudero to pop up to Pudge to end the inning, and we were still tied at 3. All that did was set the stage for Maglio Ordonez in the 9th, and boy, did he deliver.
In the air left field, the Tigers march to the World Series. They celebrated 22 years ago today as World Series champions, and October the 14th, 2006, the Detroit Tigers are American League champions.
Well, the middle of that Tigers lineup was a combined 0 for 12 in Game 3. They delivered today. Guillen Ordonez with the 2 home runs. Of course, none bigger in his career than that 3-run walk-off. And if you're talking about big moments in your career, Kenny Rogers has been around for a long time, but he may have never pitched 2 better games than he did against the Yankees in the ALDS and in the performance that he had against the Athletics. Kenny Rogers is now standing by with John Keating.
All right, well, he was certainly a big part of the American League Championship Series. Congratulations. This is why you came to this team, I'm guessing.
Without a doubt. I think we all play this game just to get to this point, and I don't think anybody could have expected it this quickly for us, but it's amazing when you get a group of guys that come together and play the game the right way, what we can accomplish.
What's the feeling like for you, as long as you've played this game of baseball, when you see Maglio Ordonez hit that one out?
You know, I wasn't wanting to jump and enjoy until I knew it was over the fence, because you never know. But when that went over, I think everyone here, we're just elated, we're excited. We wanted to make sure we could do this here at home with our fans to see it and all that, because you just can't understand just how much excitement they have given to this field when we're on here. It adds the adrenaline for us, but you just want to reward them for their, if you want to say, endurance to wait for this many years so we could get to the playoffs like this. So it's I think we all have a proud moment here.
Look around here for me. Nobody is leaving. Did you know Detroit was this kind of sports town?
I didn't from the start, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, because it didn't take long for everyone here around in the Detroit area to get behind us. When we started playing like they enjoyed the ability we had, but the way we played the game, they came out quick. But I didn't know, but everybody told me they were there. But it was amazing to see everybody come out. And I can't go anywhere. I bet everybody else the same way. You can't go anywhere without people just acknowledging how proud they are, but what a benefit this is for the city.
You were in Bondo's ear pretty good over the course of today's game. How proud are you of him and the way he battled?
You know, these are the type of games that define you to a point. The ones that are difficult, that you have to grind your way through. And he has it in him. He has so much in him, so much potential, and he's just scratched the surface. But he stayed with it, and he was willing to do the work, and it gave us a chance to do this here. So he's a big part of what happened today.
Enjoy the week off. Enjoy the party tonight.
I appreciate it.
There's Kenny Rogers. Let's bring in Joel Zumaya if we can. Joel Zumaya is a popular figure here in the city of Detroit.
All right, well, a lot of the Tigers' success this season was because of the pitching they had today. Placido Polanco has made his way to the podium. Let's take you there now.
Hey, more.
Same. Everybody happy, you know, rooting for each other, and it's just great chemistry that we have.
Good. Jack?
Placido, what are your thoughts about Magglio Ordonez? He was struggling a bit in this series and came up big today with 2 home runs. What was the feeling in the dugout for each of the home runs, actually?
Well, we know the kind of hitter Magglio is. You know, it was just a matter of time before he hit, you know, 1 hard, and he hit 2 today, and the last one was just to win the game. It's just he couldn't hit it at a better moment, and I feel very, very happy for Magglio too.
Ian?
How does this feel for you personally to be the MVP of the ALCS?
Wow, it's hard to make it to the playoff. It's hard to win. It's even harder to do this, you know. So I think it's just, like I said, it's very special, and I have to thank the hitting coach that really worked hard with me, because I was out for a month and a half, and then when I came back, taking extra swings, and the Van Slyke did a great job pitching, throwing a lot of BP, and the trainers. I mean, it's just I can't stop. Everybody.
We do have another question in the back.
And Placido, can you talk about the frustration that you must have felt when you were injured, and could you imagine this happening, you know, that you would get back and be the MVP in the championship series, or were you wondering, could it happen?
Well, why do you want me to talk about it? We're having fun now. It's a good moment. I don't want to remember that.
Okay.
But nothing. It was I know we had a shot to make it to the playoff, and I didn't know if I was going to play again. You know, like I said before, you don't have this opportunity every year, and I wanted to be part of the team. And that one day that I said that I was going to be out for the year is when I got the cortisone shot, and I don't know if you've ever had one before. It really hurts, and you can do anything for like 2-3 days, but after that you're okay to go, and then nothing. I guess that's why I'm here today.
Placido, do you want to say anything to the Spanish-speaking audience? Or?
Bueno, nada, que todo esto es para la fanaticada de Detroit. Muchos saludos a mi mamá y a mi papá en Santo Domingo, y a todos mis compañeros. Yo creo que nosotros hicimos lo que hicimos fue por la química y lo bien que nos llevamos todo. Y un saludo a todo el mundo.
And now will you tell us what you said?
Bye, Mom and Dad. And nothing, that we're here because of the chemistry that we have on the team. It's just teamwork, and everybody did what they're supposed to do to win the American League.
Great. Last question, Mel.
That night, I'm glad he translated that, because I had no idea what he said. But he is the American League Championship Series MVP. It's tough to argue with that as you welcome back Mario Mpemba and Rod Allen now. And guys, we knew how valuable Placido Polanco was to the Tigers. We saw it all season long. We saw it when he was out with the injured shoulder. What a playoff he had, Mario.
Yeah, he really did, Mick. And I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right. In the month of September, when they didn't have Placido Polanco after he went down late in August in Boston, you could really see this team was struggling offensively. They needed a spark. Polanco came back, and boy, he was heaven sent, believe me. A terrific guy. What did he bat? 9,000 here in the ALCS. So he's been what the Tigers needed, both defensively and offensively. He's been really the glue of this offense.
I'm sure David Dombrowski will tell you one of the best trades he's ever made, of course. He came to the Tigers last year from the Philadelphia Phillies at the halfway point, quickly solidified that second base position. They thought so much of him, they gave him a 4-year extension on his deal. He's going to be a Tiger for the next 3 years. What a heads-up player, outstanding talent, and deserves to be the most valuable player.
Rod, you mentioned Dave Dombrowski. Certainly he knows how to get this done. He did it in Florida with Jim Leland. A lot of the credit for all this has to go to Dave Dombrowski tonight.
You know, I've known David Dombrowski for 27 years, Mickey. I saw him in Chicago. I watched him in Montreal. I worked for him in Florida. I'm working for him again now. Not necessarily for him, but with him here in Detroit. And just to watch him grow as general manager, what he's done, the kind of talent that he assembles, the way that he gets an organization on the same page, he is second to none as far as I'm concerned. And what a joy to be a part of what they're doing here tonight.
Well, if Placido Polanco is the ALCS MVP, then maybe Craig Monroe is the vice president of the MVP, because he had one big clutch hit after another in these playoffs. He is standing by now with John Keating.
Let's bring in Craig Monroe, who's wearing the biggest smile of anybody, or as big as anybody's smile in the city of Detroit. You're going to the World Series. How does it feel?
Keaton, I tell you what, you've been through it with us the whole year, and you've seen us come together as a team. And I couldn't share this with a better group of guys. And for this organization, I say thank you for trusting us young guys and giving us an opportunity to play and mature. And we're we're reaping some benefits right now, I tell you.
You're going to the World Series.
Wow.
When will you start thinking about that? Because you got a handful of days to sort of let that sink in.
I'm going to enjoy this, I tell you what. But
I'm guessing you are.
You've got to enjoy this, and I don't know what to say. I really don't. For the first time, I don't know what to say. I just know that I'm excited. Fans, I mean, to see the fans be excited. And we're just having a good time.
Have you met Pudge Rodriguez?
Hey, it's been fun. We continue to battle. And you can't explain this. What a great time for this team and this organization.
What did you think when you saw the ball leave Mag's bat?
I said it. I said, you know what? We're going to the World Series, because there was no doubt that that ball there was going over the fence. And what a great at bat to be able to keep his poise in our environment and get it done. Thank you. Hey.
And enjoying it with Morgan and the rest of your family is as good as it gets.
All right, take a look at the names on this list and look where Craig Monroe and Curtis Granderson fit in. That is not bad company, and there's still more to go. Before it's all said and done, Monroe and Granderson could be at the top of the postseason home run lists in Detroit. Well, champagne is definitely flowing now in Detroit. Magglio Ordonez popped the cork all by himself with his walk-off in the ninth. The celebration continues when we come back after the break.
Come on, man! Now! Come on! Now! Just get it out! Huh?
Louis the Slugger has been making... Guy Fawkes is hovering over the streets of Detroit. At the corner of Woodward, right by the Hockeytown Cafe, as jubilant Tigers fans take to the street. Maybe Mike Ilitch is in there somewhere. You know, he has won 3 Stanley Cups as owner of the Red Wings, but as a one-time minor leaguer with the Tigers, Mike Ilitch has most wanted a World Series for his beloved Tigers. He's finally going to realize his dream. A man that helped him get to that point is a certain 23-year-old right-hander who didn't get a win today, but pitched very well in the process. Jeremy Bonderman is standing by with Mario Mpemba and Rod Allen.
Mickey, Jeremy Bonderman pitched one whale of a ball game here this evening, and I tell you what, Jeremy, I know you gave up a couple of runs early in this ball game, but to have a chance to pitch your team into the World Series, how much was the adrenaline flowing before this one here tonight?
You know, it was fun coming in, man. I couldn't ask for a better script, man. I'm playing versus Oakland, a team that traded me, and have a chance to put our team in the World Series. You know, everything worked out really well. Guy gave us a shot, and the guys came back and played one hell of a game.
Jeremy, it looked like after that very first inning, you gave up a couple of runs. Kenny Rogers was talking to you on the bench. What was he talking to you about?
He just told me to relax and keep fighting. And it's a long game, and just keep in there and don't give up. And you know, and I just made some mistakes in the first inning, but I was able to settle down and make some good pitches out the game and give us a shot to win.
Hey, Jeremy, is it to the point now where you got to believe your offense will come back for you? Because obviously the 2 early runs, they had a little bit of momentum today, but it looks like your entire staff now has so much confidence in this offense.
Oh man, the guys behind us have been playing great all year, and anytime you get down, if you can keep your team close, you got a shot to win this. And we were able to keep them close, and that was all we needed to do.
You know, Jeremy, I know you guys have enjoyed a couple of celebrations, but they're only getting better. You guys said one you celebrated in Kansas City. You wanted 3 more. You got 2 now. You got 1 more big one to go.
We got 1 more. We're going to do everything we can to get it.
Thank you very much for your time, buddy.
Hey, not a problem. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, Jeremy.
Thank you, guys.
Jeremy Bonderman, tonight's starting pitcher, Mick. What an outstanding effort tonight. Kept his team in the ball game. Tigers are going to the World Series. Back to you.
Mario, thank you. And in that World Series, Jeremy Bonderman will eventually have to bat, even though the Tigers will own home field advantage. Pitchers, of course, have to bat in the National League City. Lefties Nate Robertson and Kenny Rogers are the best bets at the plate, going a combined 2 for 13 this season. That obviously not their strong suit. One guy who can get the job done at the plate and has done so throughout the playoffs so far is Curtis Granderson, 1 for 4 today with an RBI and a run scored. He's standing by now with John Keating.
Trying to find some champagne, as is or as will Curtis Granderson, I think. There is no one who made a faster lap of Comerica Park than you did, celebrating this with this town's fans. Tell me about that moment.
Get a chance to involve the fans, the dedication that they've had, the diehard, what they've wanted, to go ahead and give it back to them. That's what we've been trying to do. We consider them our 10th man, and they've been doing it. They've done every bit of it.
What did it mean to you?
It's great. This is what you dream about, especially to go ahead and get somebody to get a game-winning home run and do it. It's starting to set in a little bit, even more. Like I mentioned earlier today, it was just a regular day.
Was this a tough game to play because it was so tight and you were so determined not to let this thing drag out?
Definitely tough because they were playing well. They just weren't going to lay it down and die. You know, that's a great ball club over there. They can hit, they can pitch, and they were pitching great. We had to go ahead and try to battle and continue to play for 9 innings, what we've done all season.
What's the party going to be like in Detroit tonight? You're a Chicago guy. You know they know how to do it right. They did it pretty well last October. What's it going to be like in downtown Detroit tonight?
They're going to do it big. I remember a fan during batting practice saying, I want to go to the bars tonight. I want to go. So they were planning at 2:30 to get there after it, and they're probably already there right now.
Curtis, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There's Curtis Granderson. He and the Tigers will bask in this one for quite some time. We'll send it back to you now in the studio.
Yeah, who knows how long they will have to wait for that National League champion before they can concentrate on getting back to work. So plenty of time to party and nurse the after effects. We're going to keep it right there at Comerica Park and hook back up with Mario Mpemba and Rod Allen. They are with Marcus Thames.
All right, Mickey, one of the guys that came out of nowhere this year to be a key contributor for the Tigers, Marcus Thames. And Marcus, I'm just going to flat out ask you, describe this feeling for you, because obviously coming into spring training, you just wanted a spot on this roster, and it's culminated into you going to the World Series. What does it feel like?
It's incredible. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable, man. It's, like you said, it started when I made the team out of spring training, and I got a spot, and then some guys went down, and I stepped in, and I started playing pretty well. And, you know, Leland told him that he didn't know how many at-bats I was going to get, but he said, if you get in there and start hitting, you're going to play a little while. So I got in there and took advantage of it, and I never thought in a million years I'd be in this position right now, man.
Marcus, how did you persevere through all the years of minor league baseball, what you went through as a child with your mother being paralyzed at age 5? How did you get to where you are today? I know it's been an incredible ride for you.
I mean, my family, they're strong. I mean, everybody's strong. My mom is the backbone, even though she's down, and now, you know, she's down, but she just keep me going, you know. She tells me never get down, you know, you can be worse, you can be like me. I'm here in a hospital bed, can't move, can't give yourself a drink of water. And every time I got down, I thought about that, and it just put a fire in my belly, and I got to keep going, baby.
And Marcus, talk about the focus of this team, because obviously this ball club has performed so well offensively once the postseason started. You guys have been able to push Kansas City out of your minds. How did you do that so quickly?
I mean, you know, a lot of people thought we were a free-swinging team, and, you know, Leland just told us, you know, just prepare and focus, you know, have some good at-bats, and, man, it's been unbelievable. Like, guys been grinding at-bats out, getting big 2-out hits, and that made a difference for us. And, you know, we played the small ball like everybody thought we couldn't do. They just thought we were the home run hitting team, but we put it all together, and, man, we're on our way to the World Series.
Hey, give me one of them skippers off the chain.
He's off the easy, baby.
Marcus Thames, Mickey, I'll tell you what, there are a bunch of smiles here at the ballpark. Maybe the biggest for Marcus Thames, who had a terrific impact on this ball club this year. Let's go back to you.
So many great stories like that on this Tigers club this year. And for those of you that may be starting to think ahead already, this is what the Tigers and Cardinals did head-to-head this year in their interleague matchup. Tigers obviously got the better of it, winning all 3 games. By the way, the Cardinals currently have a 2-0 lead over the Mets in Game 3 of the NLCS. That series all tied at 1 game apiece. The Tigers will wait for an opponent, but they know where they're going. World Series, here we come. We, however, are not going anywhere. The post-game show continues, and so does the party right after the break.
Swinging a fly ball, left field, it's deep, it's way back! The Tigers are going to the World Series! 3-run walk-off home run! Oh, man! Ordonez around third! He's into a box-seat at home! The Tigers have beaten the A's 6-3, completed a 4-game sweep!
Maglio Ordonez's 3-run walk-off in the 9th has sent the Tigers to the World Series, and it set off a wild and wet champagne shampoo and celebration for Kenny Rogers in the Tigers clubhouse. So, who starts Game 1 of the World Series for the Tigers? Maybe if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. John Keating is standing by with a likely candidate.
This is the best. Hey, here's Nate Robertson. You're on 2. You're 2 dry. Well, I'm 2 dry, but I got a feeling that's going to change in a matter of moments.
It's going to change.
All right, you're a big part of what's happened here. is it the best baseball experience a guy can ever have, even as you look forward to the World Series?
To this point, absolutely. Absolutely. In the way that it all went down, we've had so many late inning wins and rallies, and to have it end like it did, that was just kind of picturesque of who the Tigers are.
Tell me about the relationship between this team and this town, because it seems to be imperative that you guys share all these moments with all these folks.
Yeah, I know. You're going to have a really tough time getting these people out of the ballpark tonight, buddy. And that's, you know, the team, the heart and soul of this team is the city, and you can certainly sense it in this atmosphere, and we just want to bring something home bigger than this.
I've asked all of your teammates this question. What was the thought that you had the moment you saw the ball leave Maglio Ordonez's bat?
Well, again, it's, you know, we had so many games in like that this year. It was a similar feeling, but just
it's old hat, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's on a bigger stage, man, and it was just, it's how it was supposed to be.
And how much does it mean to this group to have a few days to sort of collect yourselves as you look forward to the first World Series in 22 years?
It's huge, and obviously then the celebration, enjoying what we've accomplished so far, but preparing ourselves for the World Series and get some guys some rest that might need it.
Right. And you want the ball in Game 1, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, but I don't have the pull, man. Go talk to Skip, man.
Right, I'll put in a good word for you. There's Nate Robertson. He's trying to.
Well, the Tigers have made 9 previous trips to the World Series. The numbers 35, 45, 68, and 84, well ingrained to a Tigers fan memory log. 99 years ago, the Tigers played in their first of 3 consecutive World Series. 1908, of course, has become famous in Chicago because it was the last time the Cubs won a World Series. The Tigers, of course, will have a few days off before they begin their next venture into baseball's grandest stage, and that can only be a good thing for the ailing Joel Zumaya. He is talking with John Keating.
Joel Zumaya is a popular figure here in the city of Detroit. Even though you weren't as much a part of the American League Championship Series as you would have liked, I'm guessing you'll be a big part of the party tonight.
I'll be a big part of the party, and I will also be a big part of the World Series.
Give me a health update. I mean, now that you know that your team has made it and you've got a handful of days off to rest, what will that do for you?
You know, I came in today. I was capable to pitch today. I walked into the training room. I told Kevin Ram. I told Skip. I came out and actually threw. I told him, hey, man, if you guys need me, you guys put me in that game. And, you know, they told me, hey, we'll talk about it. We'll get you out there if we really need you. But, hey, they didn't really need me. We won. It's going to give me a few days to get more better, more healthier, and keep my arm, get more relaxed, and I'll be ready for the World Series.
All right, I think there's a champagne bottle with your name on it. Right. Congratulations. There's Joel Zumaya. Let's bring in.
And can't see if Joel Zumaya is in that picture, dousing Brandon Inge right there. They're having a good time in the Tigers clubhouse. Much more celebration from Comerica Park still to come when our post-game show continues.
Louisville Slugger has been making baseball bats for Major League.
Carry the wall right at the foul pole, and the Tigers have tied it at 3 here in the 6th.
That was Maglio's first home run. His second, of course, sent the Tigers to the World Series, and champagne is nice, but there's nothing better than walking off the field with something sweet like that in your hands. Well, Andy Van Slyke has been with Jimmy Leland for a long time. First as a player with the Pirates, now as his first base coach and outfield instructor. And with John Keating just a few moments ago, he tried putting into words what all this means.
Congratulations. Can you put this kind of feeling, even as a coach, into some perspective for us?
I don't know why, but it seems more enjoyable as a coach. I just guess that as a player, you're so worried about yourself and your performance, but when you're a coach, you're worried about everybody else. So it's sort of like you always want to see your kids do the best, and you don't ever want to see them get hurt, and you always want to see only good times for them. So I kind of feel like a parent to a lot of these guys.
You're crying. Is this more emotional than you were as a player?
No question about it. Like I said, I don't know what the reason is. I guess you become a servant to these guys, and you only want to see them do the best that they can. And it's really not about me. And as a player, whether you like it or not, you got to be a little selfish to be good. And you get caught up in yourself a little too much. But as a coach, you can't do that. And I think that's why it's harder.
What's that feeling like when you saw the ball leave the bat of Maglio Ordonez?
Well, given the fact that it's his birthday, I thought it was a pretty darn good birthday present to himself and to everybody else in the ball club. And I was just glad for him because I think a lot of people, because of the money he makes, thinks he should do more. And that's not what we're made of on this ball club. We don't care how much money you make. We just want you to be part of the ball club. And he has been and I think it was just the right guy at the right time.
How much does it mean to your team to finish this off as quickly as you did?
Well, I hope it's not a curse, man. We're going to be sitting around for a week, but we can use some rest. We got some guys banged up, and I think it'll give us an opportunity to freshen up a little bit. It's been a long season, and I don't care what anybody says about the layup. I know this ball club's going to be ready to play.
Oh, you've been great to us all season. Find a Kleenex. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
There's Andy Van Slyke, a very emotional Andy Van Slyke, as the Tigers are headed to the World Series for the first time since 1984. Nick, back to you.
Had a great ring to it, John, and managers in their first full seasons with their respective World Series teams have done pretty well once they've gotten there. Jim Leland already on this list once, winning it all with the Marlins in his first year back in 1997. He will try to turn the trick again with the Tigers nearly 10 years later. Well, let's go back into the Tigers clubhouse right now. A jubilant Tigers clubhouse and hook up with Tigers play-by-play man Mario Impemba. Mario.
Mickey, we know the strength of this Tigers staff has been the starting rotation. One of those guys is Nate Robertson. Nate, thanks so much for that. How does it feel, buddy? Hey. Obviously, a couple of great starts in this postseason. It doesn't get any better than this, I assume.
Hey, man, it's been a total team effort, and what a better way to finish like we have been all year with that kind of drama.
You know, it seems like you guys have been feeding off each other one by one by one, and Bonderman again tonight, and he pitches this team into the World Series. You have an opportunity now to pitch in the World Series. Has that sunk in?
Not really, not quite yet, but you know what? We just take everything with stride, and that's the way we've been taught all year. You know, it's whether it's been up or down, you know, Skip comes in, he lets us know, hey, look, tomorrow's a new day. We prepare for it regardless of the win or the loss. And in the playoffs, you said, if you win the next day, you keep on going.
You know what? This stuff really does sting. Anyway, coming into the first game of spring training this year, did you guys really think you had an opportunity to do this? When you look back at that first day of spring training, I know you had confidence, but to get to this point had to be incredible.
Well, you know, a lot of people just kept on talking about just getting to 500, and that's not what Skip talks about. That's not what he believes in. There's a belief system. There was a structure that was brought in here, and we always knew we had the talent, but you got to bring a bunch of personalities together and the talent that we had together and work as one, and that's what we did.
Nate, go celebrate. Appreciate it, buddy. All right. Nate Robertson, Mick, outstanding part of this Tiger starting rotation. Let's go back to you now in the studio.
All right, Mario, you know, all this is well and good. The celebrating is fun, but more importantly, the Tigers now have a couple of days to rest a couple of injured players. We heard from Joel Zamaya earlier. The rest will do him good, and certainly it should benefit Sean Casey, forced out of the ALCS with a torn calf muscle in Game 1. But when you're going to the World Series, I can't imagine you feel all that much pain. The mayor, as he is known, is standing by with John Keating.
Well, the Tigers finished the ALCS down a first baseman, but there was no one any happier than Sean Casey to watch your team pull this thing out. Congratulations to you as well. What are you feeling right now?
Just excitement. I mean, you know, jubilation, you know, if you want to say it that way, just because this is special. I know it is. It's tough to get here. It's a lot of work throughout the season to get here, and it takes a lot of great things happening, a lot of great people to do it.
Now, you've been banged up a little bit. You got the pulled calf muscle.
Right,
it's going to be a week now until the World Series.
Yeah.
Things couldn't fall into place any better for Sean Casey.
They really couldn't. You know, that's going to help me out big time, and I'm believe me, I'm going to be out there come Game 1. I promise you.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to get out there Game 1.
Now, how much better do you feel today than you might have?
So much better. I mean, really do. Feel so much better today, and every day it gets a lot better. It's been getting noticeably better every day, so that's been big.
You've been playing this game a long time, waiting for moments just like this. You are going to the World Series, my friend. What does that feel like?
It's awesome, man. It's special. It's special, and like I said, man, you know, this is my 9th year in the big leagues and over 1,000 games, and to have this opportunity is pretty special.
Congratulations.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
There's Sean Casey. He'll be back for the World Series against either the Mets or the Cardinals. Mick, back to you.
And we will look forward to that, and a week off will certainly do him some good. Good for the injured guys, but good for the team as a whole. As we welcome back Mario Impemba and Rod Allen. Mario, this baseball team has won 7 straight playoff games. Do they need to take a week off right now?
You know, you think about that and you think, man, let's just keep playing right now. But good point. You've got Casey, you've got Zamaya, Rod, and I think these guys are going to benefit from a few days off. They'll be 100% hopefully come World Series time. And I think right now that's more important.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very, very difficult decision for the Tigers as far as Casey's concerned. The New York Mets decided to put Cliff Floyd on their roster roster for the NLCS. He blew out in the very first game. Looks like he's going to be lost for the entire 7-game series should it go that way. So the Tigers are going to have to proceed with caution as far as Casey's concerned, but several guys are beat up a little bit. Guillen's got the hamstring. We talked about Polanco. Monroe's got a knee. Several guys could use a little bit of rest, and they could use a little bit more time to scout the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Mario, you certainly have suffered through some lean times with this team, and Rod's been around for some not-so-good seasons. And this almost isn't sinking in. Hasn't this all happened too fast? I mean, I didn't want to wait any longer, but it's hard to believe it's here, isn't it?
You know, it really is hard to believe, Mick, at the speed at which this has happened. And I think you just have to take your hat off to Mike Ilitch, to Dave Dombrowski, his entire staff, because they identified a plan to get back on map as far as baseball is concerned. Strengthen the minor leagues, get some free agents in here, and make some quality trades. They did all three of those, and all of a sudden it took very little time, Rod, to get this team back on the baseball map. You really have to tip your cap to all of those people.
Absolutely. He also brought in the master, Jim Leland. When they were together in '97, once David Dombrowski felt like he had gotten to a position where they could win, he went and got Jim Leland. He brought him over. They went to the World Series and won it in 1997. 2006, flash ahead. When he feels like he's got the team that can compete and get to 500, he goes out and gets Jim Leland once again. And what a magical job of managing Jim Leland did this year. In my 29 years of professional baseball, I don't think I've ever seen a manager pull off what he was able to pull off with this ball club.
He pushed every button. I mean, it was amazing how many buttons he pushed that were correct.
You know, he had his foot on their neck so tight all season long that these guys just refused to quit, really. I mean, he kept them going one day at a time. Every time we tried to interview one guy about something he had done special in that game, he would quickly turn the table to the team and Jim Leland. Just a magical, magical season for the Tigers.
There are a lot of guys that deserve pats on the back, but maybe the impetus for this whole change, both inside and outside the organization, was when the Tigers acquired Pudge Rodriguez in free agency. Maybe they overpaid for him at the time, but maybe not, because now they're in the World Series. Pudge is standing by with John Keane.
With Pudge Rodriguez, he is the leader of this team, and your team is going to the World Series. Has that sunk in yet, just moments after the way this game ended?
Oh, it's awesome. This is special, you know. It reminds me, you know, 3 years ago, you know, with the Marlins. But again, you know, these fans right here deserve all this celebration right now. And my teammates and all my teammates that was here 3 years ago when they lost 119 games. And I'm very happy for them, and look at what we are 3 years later in the World Series.
People thought you were nuts in the head to sign with the Detroit Tigers, didn't they?
Well, you know, I didn't feel any scare or anything at all, because Mr. Ilitch told me that he's going to put a winning team together. He told me straight out, you know, it's going to take a few years, but there you go. You know, he did what he told me, and I'm very happy for him, and I'm very happy for these people and for the whole organization.
How happy are you for Magglio Ordonez, who won the game in the way that the Tigers have so many times this season?
You know, it seems like every day one guy comes through, and yesterday, you know, the other day was Gomez, and today Magglio Ordonez. He is unbelievable. Magglio is a tremendous hitter, and we knew that somehow he's going to come through, and he did it tonight.
When do you start thinking Mets or Cardinals?
Well, I don't know.
Couple of days now?
I don't know. He's going to be probably a week from now. He's going to be a week from now, but we're ready for anything.
All right, Pete and Scram, congratulations. Let's bring in Nate Robertson.
Well, Mario Mpemba is certainly being kept on his toes. He has run back into the Tigers clubhouse, and he is caught up with a guy that gave more than one Tiger fan an upset stomach this afternoon. Mario.
Hey, Mickey, one of the unsung heroes in this bullpen, obviously, is Jason Grilli. He's done a terrific job, did a terrific job again tonight in this ball game. And Jason, I don't know if this, first of all, nice. These are outstanding. This is beautiful. They come in handy with champagne in the eyes, don't they?
Yes, I do. I probably needed them tonight on the mound. I was a little erratic walking the bases loaded, but I can see clearly now, and it's good. You know, Will picked me up, and it's great, man. This whole year, everybody's been doing that, you know, picking each other up, playing as a team, and Will did a phenomenal job. So did Bonham. Everybody did. I mean, it's just a great team effort tonight.
But this bullpen as a whole has really been outstanding this year in terms of picking each other up. You guys have bonded, I think, like no other bullpen around. I mean, you guys really pull for each other, and it is kind of one for all with you guys.
It is, you know. I mean, that's what makes a good team great, and
we got all the right pieces. You know, everybody knows their strengths, everybody has their weaknesses, and Leland's been pulling the trigger on who he thinks fits best in the right situations. And you know, let's give credit to him too. I mean, he's putting us in the situations to succeed, and we're just coming through doing our job the best of our ability.
Your dad Steve pitched here in Detroit in the 70s. How special is it for you when you think about your dad pitching here and now you getting to the World Series in the same city that he pitched?
It's kind of surreal, you know, for me and him. I don't think really words can describe this. Basically, you know, when this is all said and done, we're all cutting our grass and sitting at home just relaxing. I think that's when you really can appreciate what's going on and how special this year has been for everybody. But for me and my father and my mother, my wife, everybody that's been involved to make the sacrifices so that, you know, we can live out our dream. It's just, you know, baseball is what it's just special to everybody. There's just so many moments, great moments, and it brings everybody together.
You are going to the World Series. Have you put your arms around that yet? You are going to the World Series.
Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, this is each party that we keep going here, it's getting better and better. So I can't imagine that one, and I'll be looking forward to it. Definitely will. We just got to sit back and see who we're going to wind up playing and prepare for that.
But we'll celebrate.
That's absolutely. Thanks, Mario.
All right, Jason Grilli, an important part of this bullpen. We talk about the big hammers the Tigers have in this pen, Mick, but he's just as important. Let's go back to you.
All right, Mario, nobody has done partying or celebrating yet. They have done the big things and the little things from top to bottom and out onto the streets of the city of Detroit. The baseball season moves deep into the month of October. Still more to come after the break.
Only on FSN.
Still wet and wild inside the Tigers clubhouse as they celebrate their first World Series berth in 22 years. Well, if you would have said at the beginning of this series that Alexis Gomez would play a key role for the Tigers, a lot of people probably would have looked at you cross-eyed, but he indeed did step up big time for the Tigers against the Oakland Athletics. He's standing by now with John Keating.
All right, well, this team doesn't go to the World Series, at least not this quickly, were it not for Alexis Gomez and his 4 RBIs in the game in Oakland. You're going to the World Series.
Wow, I'm so happy right now, especially with the job that I've been doing. I'm so happy for help this team to be in the World Series, and I hope I continue to help this team to win the World Series too.
I'm guessing there is no one who appreciates this any more than you do because you weren't a part of this team all season long.
I know. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. You can't believe it. To play volleyball, to be in the World Series, it's unbelievable.
When do you start thinking about that? Or is tonight just all about enjoying this?
I've been thinking about this the first day of the season.
I know this. He's just here for the Bud Light.
I know this thing gonna be do something special, and that's what we do. That was special.
Alex, enjoy it. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alexis Gomez. He's off to find more champagne. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick breath here, get all of our guys assembled, and go back to Mario, Rod, and John one last time for some final thoughts on what has just been an incredible baseball season. And Mario, I guess we'll start with you, and you guys can just bounce it around out there. We knew it all along, didn't we? Go ahead, Mario.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mickey, the one thing that I've thought about as far as this Tigers team is concerned, getting to the World Series, you have to believe the Tigers have to be the favorite no matter who they play, and here's why I think that's the case. They've got the best pitching of any team left in this tournament right now. When you look at the Cardinals and the Mets, they have terrific offensive teams, but they've been struggling pitching-wise because of some injuries. So I think once we get to the World Series, the Tigers pitching staff has to be #1, and I think eventually that will probably carry them through. They showed in this postseason, Rod, that they're probably the best staff remaining, so I think that's certainly a positive for them.
Well, absolutely, but the Tigers aren't concerned about that. Really what the Tigers are concerned about with what they can do.
Getting a cocktail is what they're concerned about right now.
That's probably what it is, and a heater, too, for us out here. A little chilly out here. But anyway, I mean, once the Tigers had completed what they've done this year, as far as the pitching staff is concerned, they are the best pitching in the league as far as I'm concerned. They are the best pitching in the postseason as well. And one thing they must do is continue to pitch the way they pitched in the postseason, Keats. And if they do that, they're going to have a chance to win this World Series.
I think we kind of forget that the Oakland A's just just steamrolled their way through the Minnesota Twins, and Tiger fans know all about how tough Minnesota was this year, and the Tigers steamrolled their way past the Oakland A's, and at least right now they're not so concerned as to whether it'll be the Mets or the Cardinals in the next round. All the Tigers know is that there will be a next round in the baseball summer. This magical baseball season will continue for quite some time. Right now I'm just damp. I'm just damp. We got it pretty good in the Tigers clubhouse, and there is no one more delighted about that than we are. Mickey from Delighted, a terrifically fun Comerica Park. We'll send it back to you.
Guys, great job throughout the entire playoff run so far, and the best news is we are not done yet. Let's take a look now at the World Series schedule. Game 1 in Detroit against the NLCS winner, whoever that may be. It's only down to 2. The Mets and the Cardinals will come your way October 21st. That's a 7:30 start. Game 2 follows on the 22nd before the series will move to the National League city if necessary. Game 5 also in that National League city, but Game 6 and 7 right back in Detroit. Again, if necessary, but right now the Tigers are on some kind of postseason roll, and so are we. Our DSR Tigers playoff postgame shows will continue into the World Series. We're going to change the name. We're going to call it our World Series postgame show. The usual cast of characters will be in place to bring you all the interviews, the highlights, and the analysis. It's all right here on FSN Detroit, your home for the World Series bound Detroit Tigers. Well, before we say goodnight, we have the best from Game 4 queued up in tonight's Final Cut. For everybody at Comerica Park and for all of us at FSN Detroit, thank you so much for watching. The Tigers are going to the World Series, everybody. Have a good time. Celebrate and enjoy the Final Cut. Good night.
Look out. That is some kind of defender, Eric Chavez. Chavez can't find the handle. Brandon in, hits one down the left field line. Gone, a home run just inside the fair pole. Struck him out. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. And it's gone in the right center field by Rodriguez. There's strike 3 called to Swisher. When's that going to come down? Hit well. Goodbye. What a breaking ball by Verlander. Under the glove of Chavez, off the glove of Chavez. Coming in to score. Chavez plays long ball. And the magic touch indeed continues for Jim Leland. He doesn't even care that there's a wall in his way. Fastball locks up Thomas, and the struggles for the Oakland slugger continue. Double play ball here, and the throw is in time. In the air, well hit by Monroe. Is it 3-0 Tigers? You betcha. Milton Bradley with a run-scoring double to left center field. In the air, pretty well hit off the bat of Jay Payton. Monroe back to the wall, looks up, goodbye. That ball hammered into left field, and Payton cannot get it. It goes to the wall, and Granderson will score. A bullet into left field. We're tied. Swinging a fly ball, left field, it's deep. It's way back. The Tigers are going to the World Series.
Do you believe this? 12 straight losing seasons, 119 losses in 2003 alone, the punchline of just about every baseball joke out there. Not only are they a winning team once again, the Detroit Tigers are now American League champions. Heading to the World Series after sweeping the Oakland A's right out of the playoffs. Oakland scoring the first 2 runs of this game, actually the first 3. 2 of them coming in the first inning off Jeremy Bonderman, who had a rough start today, at least early on. Another run here for Oakland in the 4th. Jay Payton with the solo home run, and Oakland had a 3-0 lead, but the Tigers start battling back. Bottom of the 5th, Curtis Granderson sends it out in right center. It's a base hit. Brandon Inge comes in to score. good for a double as Granderson stretches it into a double. It was a 3-1 game. Craig Monroe then, still in the bottom of the 5th, RBI double, scores Granderson. It goes past the left fielder all the way to the wall. Granderson in to score. It's a 3-2 ball game. Go to the bottom of the 6th now, and Maglio Ordonez, not the game-winning home run, but the one that tied it up. This one a line shot, just going to get out. Ties the ball game up at 3 apiece. Stays that way until the bottom of the 9th. With 2 outs, the Tigers get a couple base runners, then Ordonez again, and Maglio coming through in the clutch. Oh, big time home run, ball game right there. ALCS is over. Tigers get the sweep. They win the game 6-3. Pandemonium breaking out at Comerica Park. 22 years to the day that the Tigers won the World Series. Look at the reaction from Dave Dombrowski, Tigers president, CEO, and general manager. Oh, you think he's pumped? He had to sit through those 119 losses. And team owner Mike Ilitch, a nice kiss with the wife up there in the owner's box. Tigers heading to the World Series for the 10th time in franchise history. Now on the field during the victory celebration, sports director Jack Doles joins us now live from just outside Comerica Park. Hey Jack, you've been inside some of these celebrations before. What was this one like?
You know what, Jason, this was a little more subdued than what we saw last week when they beat the Yankees and were spraying the fans, but it still was something special. Guys shooting the champagne, huge smiles, and in some cases, looks of bewilderment. I don't believe all these guys know and believe that they're here going to the World Series now, but it was something else.
You know, to take this into the World Series was really exciting. I was struggling in the first 3 games, and I say to myself, the Italians going to come, and they come at the right time. You know, it was really, really exciting, guys.
What were you thinking when that ball came off Maglio's bat?
I couldn't get out on the field fast enough. I knew it was a home run the way the ball was carrying out there, so I just jumped the rail a couple times and got out to the field.
It's easy to go sign with the Yankees and go to the World Series, but, you know, to do it in Detroit in front of all these people that are hurting so bad in this state, you know, it's just an honor to be a part of it, and to have an opportunity to represent Detroit in a World Series is, I can't believe it. I cannot. I'm speechless.
And I'm very happy for my teammates and those players. You know, then 3 years ago came from a 119 season loss. You know, celebrate with me in the same room. He's awesome.
Hey Kenny, when the Tigers were first starting to talk to you, recruit you to come here, was there any talk that, hey, if everything goes well, we might be going to the World Series this year?
I don't think anybody mentioned World Series, but at the time, I was looking for a place that I thought I'd fit in and with a good group, but I knew there was talent here, but I had no idea, you know, how much more there was than I thought. I knew we'd be a better ball club. I figured we'd play very competitive, over 500 easily, but I didn't know this. Nobody could have.
Yeah, I don't think any can. Again, people just can't believe this. These guys are pinching themselves that they're headed to the World Series. Nobody would have thought about this at the beginning of the year, Jason, but there they are. And now the best part about this, they've got a whole week to kind of heal up. Maybe Sean Casey can play, maybe not, but Joel Zamaya, who's got the injured wrist, wasn't available tonight. He's hoping he can play in the World Series now, and this extra week of rest should be good for the team. Reporting live at Comerica Park, Jack Doles, 24-Hour News 8 Sports.
Yeah, certainly the extra week of rest will help. The World Series starts a week from tonight at Detroit. National League Championship Series, still unknown who the Tigers are going to play because the Mets and Cardinals have only played 3 games. Cardinals taking Game 3 tonight. Scott Spezio with the base hit to right field is going to bring in a couple of runs. Cardinals taking Game 3, 5-0 over the Mets. So they lead that series now 2-1. Well,